Hello, everyone! Ho, ho, ho! Welcome to episode 126 of FPL BlackBox with myself as a near Grinch, Mark Southerns, until he went
I'm
and
not
found.
near Grinch.
You went and found a Christmas jumper in the end, but it took some persuasion, didn't it?
It did. Well, it's an Arsenal Christmas jumper, which is really annoying because I bought this when I did the FPL show, and they said, "Oh, you got to pick a Premier League club." So I obviously picked Arsenal at the time. So now I feel like I need to buy a Forest Christmas jumper, don't I?
Well, I said to you beforehand, I always thought you were an Arsenal fan until we started doing BlackBox because you had it in your FPL profile thing. Because obviously Forest weren't in the Premier League.
I was a Forest fan back in the scout days. Sure.
I know, I didn't. You never you mentioned them. You only mentioned them when you're in the Premier League.
Well, there's no need to mention them. About
Glory
them,
Hunter.
Yeah. Well, they're particularly mentionable at the moment, aren't they?
Yeah. Well, I think we should start with that. What are your?
Do you want to?
What are your thoughts?
Bored with that.
Nah. What are your thoughts on Cooper going? I was sad. You must be.
I'm very sad.
Yeah.
Very sad indeed. Obviously, there's been some interesting articles come out the last few days about what the truth was behind all that. But yeah, I guess one win in 13 is not good enough, right? We were drifting into relegation trouble, so I think it had to be done. Sad to see him go, and I'm actually happy with the appointment. I think Nuno would have been my preferred candidate out of Lopetegui, really, and the Frankfurt manager, who's Glasner. That's it. So I think, yeah, I'm happy with Nuno. I like him. People are judging him on the Spurs 10 league games in charge of Spurs and not the 3 seasons in charge of Wolves, which is strange. So at Wolves he was excellent, so I like him.
I'm surprised that you're happy with Nuno. I saw that appointment and thought that's got all the hallmarks of a disaster in the making, but you seem quite happy with him. So
yeah.
People saying I'm too low. That's all that out. I thought we did a sound check before this started.
Oh my God, what is happening? What was that?
Right.
What have you done?
I haven't done anything. People saying they can hardly hear me.
Have you gone into like a robot mode? Or is that just me?
What? I think we're going to have to do another sound check as people saying that it's all gone.
What is happening? Is this just me? Is like you sound like a robot.
Yeah, quit the stream, as quit the stream. We'll have to do another sound check. I don't know what's going on.
Oh, I know what's going
What
on now. Yeah,
the hell?
Can we start again though? Because that's going to be.
What just happened?
I don't know. I pressed one of the wrong buttons on the roadcaster. But what's the volume? Why are they saying I'm too loud or too soft? I hit the voice changer by accident.
Oh my God!
What one did I go for?
You hit the voice changer by. I'm dead. I'm dead. I'm dead.
That was amazing.
That's because I thought it was deliberate. Because I thought
no. What you thought was a joke?
Oh my God!
Okay, I'm back to normal now.
Oh my God!
The
that's
chat
the
is
fun.
going crazy.
That's the funniest. That is probably the funniest thing that's ever happened on this stream. Because you're panicking and trying to make it.
I was like, what's going on? Right, am I too loud?
You sound
or too soft
fine.
now?
You just ignore them.
Everyone said that.
They
no
say
volume.
it every week. You're
I know they
fine.
do.
Just leave. That
I'm
was.
sure some people do it now just to throw us off.
I like Matt Henley. Change it back.
To the robot. I can always go to robot mode later.
Sam Vines, as really is special. That had nothing to do with me. He hit the voice changer on his end.
That's absolutely amazing.
Amazing. Incredible.
Volume's good now, apparently. Okay,
Oh,
I don't know what happened there. Stephen Hawking, eat your heart out, says Walter White.
That's the funniest thing I've heard him have. Anyway, let's crack
serious
on.
business. Yeah, no, I'm pleased with Nuno. Pleased with
Nuno. Good.
Yeah. Happy. We'll talk about him later.
We will talk about him in a bit. Oh my God, that was the funniest
Anyway,
thing.
right?
Yep.
This is the season for giving. Okay, right? You give presents, don't you? I just logged on. I've lost a load of points. What's going on? That's not very Christmassy of FBL, is it? So we should talk about that, shall we? Because obviously this show's called Unfinished Business. We put that thumb out minutes before the decision was made. So do you want to go on about that? Talk about what your views are on that.
Yeah,
outcome.
I mean, firstly, good to say, the Lockyer is
stable
after it. Awful thing that's happened, after the Ericsson thing, which was obviously terrible, and now this, it's never nice to see, and as we do content that people listen to, and I doubt Lockyer listens to us, but if he does, we wish him obviously a speedy recovery as well. I hate to see things like that happening. And obviously FPL pales in comparison to it. But we are here to talk about FPL, and we should talk about the ramifications of it. It was the right outcome in the end. I can't believe anyone thought there was going to be any other outcome to it.
Yeah, I know. I guess the frustration is it took a long time to get to, didn't it? Basically, and I think I don't know what the reasons were behind that. I think like on the day it happened, I was like, well, they're going to avoid the points, and my auto sub's going to come in. And that is what obviously is what's happened now. But it took days to get there. I can only presume the reason why it took days to get there is they must have been talking to the clubs about doing a replay where they just replayed the last 30 minutes. That must have been on the table, because obviously the situation, it arguably does disadvantage Luton because they were in a 1-1 situation with 30 minutes to go, whereas now they've got to start again. And that, a 1-1 draw with 30 minutes to go, Luton could have held on for a crucial point there, whereas now they've got 90 minutes again. So there must have been some debate with the clubs about what is the fairest outcome there, because it wouldn't obviously be fair that Luton were disadvantaged, but they will probably look at it now and go, if you're a Luton fan, you think, actually, I would have rather have played the last half an hour and tried to hang on to a point against a form team. Whereas now they've got a replay. Well, we don't know when the replay is, and Bournemouth might not be in that kind of level of confidence then. They certainly are a confident side now, as Forest will probably find out on Saturday. So I think that must have been it. It was a Premier League delay to sort that out between the clubs. And I guess FPL were holding on to go, well, if they're going to play just the last 30 minutes, we can leave that match open and basically bring the minutes together and bring the bonus points together and so on. Right? That must be why they kept it open, because that must have been cited as a possibility, and it's taken this long to sort out the eventual outcome. So, yeah, I kind of expected it. I was kind of hoping there might have been a different outcome, obviously as a Solanke owner. Particularly frustrating because I made the Solanke transfer early and then didn't move for Watkins because I didn't want to take a hit. Whereas obviously so it hasn't worked out. But, it's one of those things, isn't it? But yeah, like you say, the most important thing is Lockyer has recovered, and hopefully, we see him back on the pitch at some point.
Yeah, I've boosted you up a little bit, by the way. I've boosted you up a lot, so hopefully that's made a bit of a difference, because a few people are still saying you're a bit low, but hopefully that's kind of fixed it.
You're incredibly loud for me now, so I don't know what you've done there, but that means you're incredibly loud for me. Okay, it's fine. People saying the volume is fine, so let's leave it at that. Yeah.
I don't really understand why it's, I did a sound check before and it was fine, so everyone's saying audio good. So I just boosted you up a bit, but yeah. Interesting game week. I'm seeing some crazy auto subs from people. Ash from FPL Juice is getting Palmer off the bench. Do you deserve Palmer off the bench?
Yeah, I guess these are the bits of luck, isn't it, that come out of this. There's going to be people who come out of this really well and come out of it, having suffered a loss. I mean, I only lost a couple of points as it happens. And I've gone down from 58 to 56, but that's because I also had Haaland, right? It's because I didn't make that second transfer. And Bailey and Aït-Nouri have come on for 4 points. So I got 1 point instead of the 6 for Solanke. So I guess I lost 5. Feasibly, I could have had 9 because he was in the bonus, wasn't he, as well? Yeah, if you got Palmer or Livramento, then, you've been fortunate, haven't you? But, that's the way it is. It's an asterisk season. No, we can't call it an asterisk season for this one. Insane.
Just write the whole thing off. I'm absolutely fine with that. Let's just go with that and write it off. I also saw someone with Jimenez coming off the bench as well, which is less good, right? With his red card. I found out why you sounded so high. By the way, you're on my clean feed as Mark, so I boosted up the wrong Mark.
Oh, okay, right, well done.
I think it should be fine now. Let us know if it's fine.
Okay.
We've got a super chat from Nigel the Crab. Santa here. He is the real BlackBox Santa. Here's your gift for Game Week 18. Harry Wilson returning each of the last 3 home matches against a ropey Burnley defence. Get the elves on it. Harry Wilson.
Yeah, he's a player who does well in pockets, doesn't he, for Fulham? He's very hard to read. I always rated him. As a player, but I think as a fancy asset, he's never been consistent enough to back. But as a one-off differential, he's great. Depending on the Fulham fixture. The Fulham fixture is good. Fulham, very confident. I backed them for a 3-0 win, I think. So, yeah, Wilson for some points if you're if you're dead ending or you're wanting to take a risk on a replacement for Gordon. We're going to look at Gordon replacements later, aren't we? And Wilson isn't one of them, but there's no reason why he couldn't be. I guess Iwobi should have been on the list as well.
We did mention him, didn't we? We mentioned him last time.
Yeah. I mean, the thing is, with Iwobi, he's off to the AFCON, isn't he? So you're not going to buy him. But having said that, Kudus is also off to AFCON, but he's amongst the most bought players this week. So people have been flooding to him. I guess, I mean, the appeal of Wilson is while Iwobi's away, he may well get more regular starts, yeah.
Yeah. We're back to perfect sound, Mark. You
Good.
can rest. Unless the voice changer comes out again.
We were a bit rushed tonight. I mean, that's the thing. Like, I think at Christmas when work is off the table, I'm going to have more time. But actually, family then takes over, and you can't sort of go, "Oh yeah, I need to do 4 hours of prep for the podcast." Yeah. So it was a little bit rushed, and we didn't sound check as much. And hopefully, the data's okay. We went through it as quickly as we could before we came on, but we're good to go. We're good to go.
Yeah, good to go. And a super chat from Kenneth M. Happy Christmas, boys. Appreciate all the recent additional content. Mince pies on me. First green hour in a few weeks. Nice one, Kenneth. Keep them up. Keep it going.
Yeah, lovely. Thanks for the donations, and we'll put it towards more neon signs and more drones, stuff like that. Right?
And more voice changing robots. Excellent.
I can do that again if you want to laugh.
Please don't touch it. Okay. Kenneth M as well. He's a good advocate of our Godfather tier members, of which we have two new members. We have Niall Plume, who I played in the Juice 5-a-side tournament with a few weeks ago. I am so confused now, joined in the last week. And Dave Lister has re-subbed. And the re-subs indicate they're getting something for their money, Mark. So there you go. Keep at it.
Glutton for punishment. Yeah. I mean, we do need to do more in the Discord. We've been very distracted.
I've been quite active in the Discord. I've been really getting into it. Yeah.
I know you love doing the old moderation, don't you? Yeah. You've really taken that in your stride.
Yeah, I'm loving it. Me, Billy, and Nigel are ruthless. Don't mess with the three of us.
No, I must take to the Discord and do something late at night over Christmas at some point. There's so much football on. I hadn't realised. I had a look at the programme, and obviously apart from Christmas Day, it's like all around. Boxing Day is a nightmare. Well, not for us, but for anyone who doesn't like football. There's like 4 games, and it spans from 12:30 till about 10 o'clock at night. How are we going to get that past our partners? I mean, nightmare.
Well, I that is mine and my dad's like days. Me and my dad will sit, from the start to the end and watch kind of every game, every minute, which is it's actually like one of my favourite days of the year. So looking forward to that.
Mrs. Chris Phillips is all right with that, is she?
Oh yeah,
okay?
my mum's well into football at the moment. She watches every Brighton game. Have I told you how my mum and dad watch the Brighton games, like the 3 p.m s? Right, because obviously they can't watch them on TV. So what they do is they get the radio on, and they get Soccer Saturday on. And they listen to the radio and watch Soccer Saturday on mute. But Soccer Saturday is a little bit ahead of the radio. So they actually know what's happened in the game before the radio catches up.
Right.
It is the most stressful...
How do they stumble upon that?
I don't know.
Why do they do that?
I made the mistake of showing them Flash Score, which has the radio stuff built in, and that's how they choose it. But honestly, it's the most stressful thing in the world, because you know what's coming before the radio's kicked in. So no, that's that's happened to me a few times where I've watched a game and then had WhatsApp open and my stream or my Sky app is a bit behind, and it's like awful when someone goes, it's the worst.
Someone goes, oh no, that's the clean sheet gone. You go, oh no, what? And then you know it's coming, don't you? And it's like, oh, I've got to watch it now when it's like your clean sheet out of the way. And stuff. It's worse when you're watching your own team. Because
some people are watching them like abroad where it's like instant. Because even if I'm watching it on Sky Go or something, you have that delay, so you can't check your phone because there'd be someone in a group chat just being like, oh, Darwin scored, and you wait for like 30 seconds. Oh, actually, they're never like Darwin scored. That's a terrible example.
No, that is probably the worst example you could give. If you were plucking at well, he might score tonight, but he isn't going to score in Premier League, is he? So
Emo show, it's football, not soccer hours. It's not the football Saturday, though, is it? That'd be weird. No. Soccer Saturday. That's what it's called.
Unfortunately, they do call it Soccer Saturday, don't they?
They do. Let's take a quick look at our game weeks then. So I beat you for once.
Is this your actual score then? Of course, you didn't have Solanke, did you?
Yeah, I didn't have any. Right. Yeah, I didn't have any, or I didn't have Haaland, no bench points waiting to update or anything like that. So yes, good week for me. 65 points. That's about 800,000 green arrow. Turner in goal, Poor old Turner. Probably going to lose his place again now, isn't he? He was awful in that game. Absolutely dreadful. Gabriel, Simicast and Livramento. Clean sheets all round for the defence, which is a bit of a
lot
rarity.
of clean sheets about this week.
There was.
A lot of high scores in defence.
I don't think there's going to be next week, but I will take it this week. And then Salah, Son, Saka all blanking, like the three heavy hitters. And Gordon and Palmer coming in with 20 points between them, which was nice.
Yeah.
Watkins up top, brought him in for Haaland this week. Oof.
Oh, that really stung again. Watkins is really hurting me. Like, whenever I go against him now, he always does well. Obviously, that move, to Darwin was a disaster.
Oh, God.
But this week, I sat there thinking, because I got Solanke in early, and I sat there thinking, shall I just do Haaland to Watkins for a hit? Because it's pretty certain Haaland isn't going to start. So it wasn't the fact that I thought Haaland might start, which counted against me. It's the fact that I had Bailey, right? I had Bailey to come on, and Nori possibly, right? So I had Bailey at Brentford. Was it worth taking a hit to get Watkins at Brentford? Because I thought, well, if they're going to win at Brentford, Bailey will probably get something for reasons we'll see later on. And he did, of course. Didn't start, came off the bench and set the first goal up. So when that happened, I was like, oh, that was the right move. Not getting Watkins was the right thing to do because it would have been a hit. So it wouldn't be. But then he goes and scores and gets the bonus.
The bonus
and so
was the killer. Yeah.
I lost out by. Well, I thought at the time I'd lost out by 2 points, but of course now the Solanke points have dropped out. I've lost out by more. So yeah, it's a double whammy really with the Solanke points dropping out, not taking the hit for Watkins. It just seems like this season when I'm passive, when I don't make the aggressive move, it hurts me.
Look at this. I finally get a green arrow talking about my team, and it's all about you, all about your bad luck.
It's just about Watkins. No, you beat me by quite a margin now, by about 9 points, right? So
yeah, I mean you got 56, so that score is right with your auto subs. Coming in. So yeah, talk us through it.
Yeah, Dubravka and Lascelles with the clean sheet 7 and 6. Simicast 7, Gabriel 6.
Killer.
As you see, a lot of back threes, back fours did very well this week. Saka 3, Son 2, Palmer 14. I should really get extra points for getting him when he was 4-9. Really, that's really not getting the same as everybody else is not right, is it? Salah captain 6, Darwin. Oh God, Darwin 1s. Solanke of course the blank now, and Haaland the blank. So 1 point from my forwards, which were Darwin, Solanke and Haaland. I didn't expect Haaland to play. I kept him and threw him in just in case. I always expected Bailey to come on. And I was, I think again, I was unlucky not to get Bailey. I thought he'd start that game. Clearly wasn't fit enough. And
not in training today either, was he? Wasn't pictured in the training photos.
It hasn't officially said they're not in training, but it's just he doesn't appear in the video or the photos. He's probably not the only player, but does seem to be a cloud of doubt now whether he'll start in this game week now. But it's like, do I take a hit? Like, I've got that dilemma this week as well. So getting Bailey is probably going to be a curse now because he was starting matches before I got him. And as soon as I got him, he's now started getting injuries. So been a bit unfortunate. This is the thing, you
take a punt on someone and you just get mercilessly punished for them like leaving the team or not scoring. It's so difficult. I mean, look at our midfields. Our midfields are identical except for Bailey. I went for the safer option in Gordon. You went for Bailey. I mean, to be fair, I might be punished with that if Gordon's going to be out for a little while. But yeah, it's not easy to know where to find the difference makers at the moment.
No, it isn't. And I think if Gordon's out, then it might shake it up a bit. We're going to look at some alternatives there. But I think, if you haven't, I mean, that means more people are going to gravitate to Palmer, of course. I think he's probably the most bought this week, right? So it's going to narrow it down to a template again for those who have been slow to Palmer. I think it's the right move. If you haven't got Palmer, you've got to go there. But it is an opportunity to take a risk, and I did that with Bailey. And I can't say I've been punished because he's got 2 returns in the 2 weeks I've had him. He just hasn't started either game. Well, he started one, went off at half time, came on in the other, got assists in both, and it's now whether we'll start the Sheffield United game. I think if he starts against Sheffield United, he could be excellent for me. But it's whether he does now.
You've got to risk it though, haven't you? You've got to just hope he does.
This is it. So I don't take a hit.
The thing is, there's doubts around so many players this weekend, isn't there? I mean, you look at Simicast. I mean, even Lascelles with Botman back and Byrne like back in the side. Obviously, I've got Livramento. You're looking at kind of lots of players and thinking, looking at Gordon, for example, in my team. I don't know. I mean, even Trippier, for example. I mean, he's been so poor the last few games.
Yeah, what did Chris have to say about that? Was he?
Do you know
did
what?
he send you any text last night?
He hasn't messaged me, which makes me think he
Did he
wasn't
miss it?
watching. Must have missed that game because he would have been straight on a missed penalty and another goal gifted. Crazy what's going on with him.
Well, I don't know. I mean, I can only think there might be something off the pitch or something that's getting to him. I don't know because he's not injured. It's just a confidence thing. It's really odd, isn't it? A player so experienced to be going through he's culpable for about 5 goals now in the last month.
Yeah.
If Trent had done this, there'd be uproar. It'd be on the back pages, wouldn't it? Which is unfair, of course, but it's just very, the difference there is Trippier is obviously, I don't know, widely regarded as an excellent all-round fullback, whereas Trent's defensive frailties are someone's always trying to jump on and expose them, and that hasn't been the case for Trippier, which is right because you don't want to glory in someone's mistakes. But from an FPL perspective, I'm a little bit worried. Now he'll definitely start because Eddie Howe is not going to drop a player who's low on confidence. That's not the way to boost them. And in Trippier, he's club captain or has been, so. He'll definitely start at Luton, I think.
Yep. No, I agree with that. I had a question to ask you, but I've forgotten what it was. What's it about? I can't remember. I'm sure it was incredibly important. I can't remember now. Let's go back to Groundhog Day. Let's talk about Haaland again.
What's this about?
Before we get into the other bits. I mean, last stream we had a bit of a quarrel about Pep and about Haaland and would he play and all that.
And did you see people were saying, "Oh, Mark's got to make an apology to us"? He was
really, I
I
was feeling very smug. He didn't turn up, not in the squad for the Saudi Arabia thing. And then today we get a picture of Haaland in Saudi Arabia, clearly kicking a football with his boots on, then having a little rest because he was obviously tired after his little kickabout, which was then swiftly deleted by the admin. What is going on here?
I can only think, right, that the whole situation is clouded by the fact that there'll be some pressure for Haaland to play in the Saudi games, I imagine, because of the money tied up in it. So maybe that's the reason they've taken this image down, because they don't want to indicate that... Because I don't think he will play in the final. I don't think Pep would want him to play if there's been any risk. I mean, I do believe there's been an injury, of course, right? Why wouldn't there be? But I do think also that Pep looked at these 2 matches and go, look, we could do with him not playing either of those, given that he's got this problem. And putting that photo out there, that would indicate to me that he could possibly be fit enough to play, because why would they risk him kicking a ball with a stress fracture? You wouldn't, would you? So it is a bit odd to have that image out there and then to say, oh, he's not fit enough to play or even be on the bench. I don't think he will be. I don't think he'll figure at all. I think Everton, when they get back, is on the cards, though.
I don't think he can play, right, because he's not registered. I think him, Doku, and De Bruyne aren't registered,
really?
right?
Okay.
In the squad.
For the tournament.
I don't think that was my.
Oh no, they're out the squad. You're absolutely right.
That was my understanding.
Yeah,
I mean, I'm not saying that's definitely right, but
yeah, so why take this down then?
I don't know. But I don't think it comes from Pep. I don't think Pep said take this image down.
No, it comes from the press team.
Yeah.
Who've looked at that and gone, no, we don't want that image up there for some reason. Someone's gone, we don't want that up there, haven't they?
It's strange, isn't it? It's really
what
strange.
What would be the reason?
I don't know.
I guess if he's not in the squad, people will go, well, why is he if he's not fit to be in the squad, why was he pictured? I don't know. We don't know what politics are involved in this tournament. It is a very, obviously it's in Saudi for a start, so there's all the the politics that come with that and the money that come with that. I guess there's sponsorship money tied up in the match, a lot of it, and those sponsors will want players like Haaland on the pitch. So maybe City do feel that best not to have any Haaland communication because questions have been asked about why he wasn't available to play. So maybe that's it. I don't know, but it's a bit odd taking that. I mean, what harm is that image doing?
I don't know, unless if you've got fans who might see that image and go to the game because they're expecting to see Haaland and he's not there, maybe it's a bit misleading, something like that. But
maybe that.
Yeah, it is.
By the way, for the people on the podcast, this is an image of Haaland kicking a ball, basically,
and having a little sit down.
Yes, straight after, which led to a lot of memes straight away, didn't it?
It did, yeah, absolutely. My dad is in the chat.
Is he? And what's he saying about Trippier? Is he on the case?
He says I agree to something, which probably means someone's having a go at Trippier.
Right. Okay. The chat's moving quite quick. There's quite a few people in tonight.
It is.
We've got 1,200
people watching. So
wow,
hello to,
that's amazing.
Yeah,
That's
hi
great
to
for this
everyone.
early in the show.
If you tuning in late and you missed Mark's robot
you
voice
missed my
at the
Dalek.
start, you have to go back to that. It's one of the all-time greatest Black Box moments.
There was a
I
classic
think.
Black Box moment
It
earlier,
was.
purely by accident, as we fumbled with the sound controls.
Also, me turning myself up to like plus 15 decibels, not realising that it was me. It's because I'm Mark, because it's your account, and you're Mark S, and I turn them all
Oh,
up.
don't give away we share the account. Oh my God, look at that. They'll be after us for money.
But no one knows what account.
No, they don't.
Should we look at some
Dear me.
data?
Calamitous. Yeah, let's do that. Let's get out of trouble and look at some data. That's hopefully correct, even though we rushed it.
Well, hopefully this data is correct. Just for anyone who's not aware, data is, of course, from Fancy Football Scouts. Do check it out. There's a good offer at the moment over Christmas. You can also gift a membership to a loved one if you want to help them with their FPL seasons. It have to be a real loved one, especially if they're in your mini league and you want to kind of help them out. But if you do check that offer out. As a link to Fancy Football Scout in the description of this video. You can make great tables like the one we have here. Let's start with team data defence then. Last 6, not a huge amount of change since the last one we did. Arsenal at the top, Bournemouth in second, but Everton in third. What is going on with Everton at the moment? How do they keep winning to 0?
Well, the thing is, it's funny because someone said to me earlier in the week about Pickford that we said at the start of the season, well, Dyche will have a full pre-season with them, so defensively they're going to be stronger because they obviously improved a lot when he arrived last season. And we all went Pickford because of that, right? We always went, oh, okay, well, the fixtures, they had a good run of fixtures, didn't they? And so it has come to fruition, that theory, but it didn't come to fruition in the block of fixtures we expected it to. And it's now happened. And obviously since we've all, well, not all of them, I'm sure some people held on to him, but a lot sold in game week 8. I sold in game week 10. And since then, Pickford and the Everton defence have been outstanding. So
you said it on your
4 consecutive clean sheets now.
You said it on your video, didn't you? Early in the week, the difference is like 40 points or something. You say it was?
Is it 53 to 13 or something ridiculous like that? It's massive between him and Areola. Yeah,
Unreal.
it's not good, is it? So, like, I think we've got to look at the Everton defence as a 4th or 5th option, right? 4th or 5th defender, because we can go Mikalenko or Branthwaite there. Maybe we do go back to Pickford, but I think while Dubravka is about, that's too simple. And, I think I'm still back in the Newcastle defence. Despite them being down in 14th here, I think that, again, we saw last night at Chelsea, they defended really well. And if it wasn't for that useless fullback Trippier, they'd be fine. I just said that because Chris is...
That's good. My dad getting involved. Hello, everyone. Look, he thinks he's a celebrity now because we mentioned him. Typical.
It's like he's the producer.
He could be. Yeah. Look at some of the teams though in the bottom half of this table. Newcastle in 14th, Chelsea in 15th, Manchester United 16th, and then Spurs right down in 19th as well. These are big teams who we would have pitted our money in in defence, and they're just kind of not. What about Porro? Porro's the big one, isn't he? Because are we just completely reliant on attacking returns with him?
I think when you get him, you are looking at that there. You're going, well, I'm expecting 1 clean sheet in 5, 1 clean sheet in 6, because that's probably what your expectation should be. But what you are expecting is 2 or 3 attacking returns in that run as well, because he has been delivering. And I also think, I've said before, I think we said the previous week, a haul's coming, like a double figure haul's coming. He hasn't got a double figure yet. He got 8 points game week 17, which is his highest score of the season. And when you look at the data, he isn't like flying or anything in terms of an FPL asset. He's not like right up there with some of the top scoring defenders yet. But it's just the data is so strong that we know it's coming. So when it does arrive, if you haven't got him, you can't turn around and say you weren't warned, because everyone's talking about him. A lot of people getting him in. If you look at the bottom of that table, it is based on the difficulty of the fixtures. If you look at it, so there's a lot of red around those teams at the bottom there. So it's fair enough. Only Sheffield United have had an easy run over the last 6 and are down there, and they sacked their manager, so that's understandable. I guess Spurs will come out of this phase, but even when they've got their injuries, are all back and when they're full strength, they're not a team you rely upon for a clean sheet, are they? They're just not.
It is if you look at the last 6, it is interesting that it kind of does cascade down from blue at the top down to red. It just shows that fixtures and defence are obviously very kind of closely, knitted Someone just said, Wayne Jenkins says, how ridiculous is the Arsenal defence? It is ridiculous. XG conceded per 90 over the last 6 is 0.66. That's nearly half of second Bournemouth, 1.01.
Yeah, and only 7.5 shots per game they're conceding.
Crazy.
Over the last 6.
Which is, again, half of Bournemouth as well. So,
yeah.
Well, there hasn't been an abundance of clean sheets, but, I haven't seen Brighton dismantled in such a way as Arsenal. Because it wasn't like watching a kind of really flamboyant Arsenal team, with loads of trickery and amazing bits of play. And, it was just a really solid, performance where they just didn't let us play even slightly. They dominated the midfield, had good chances, should have won by more. And we just didn't create anything in the game. I think Gross might have been able to nick us a point near the end.
Yeah.
He had a decent chance, but that would have been a bit of a travesty, really, because they were so good against us. And I think they're going to do it this year. I think they're going to go on and win the league because the defence looks great, the midfield looks really solid, and then they've got the players in attack to hurt teams. So really impressed with Arsenal.
Wearing an Arsenal jumper, I'm only going to agree with you, aren't I? So that's fair enough. I think when we get to the attacking data as well, that's probably the most significant because Arsenal were top of that.
Yep.
And I think one player that I've seen kind of emerge in recent weeks, last 3 game weeks, has been Odegaard, who's suddenly now bringing in data akin to what we saw last season. And it's come at the right time because obviously we're looking for midfield replacements with Salah and Son possibly being shipped out of our teams. Odegaard's got to be in that equation, I think, because, I think he had 5 shots and 4 chances created, or the other way round in the previous game. So his last 3 fixtures have all been, good in terms of data, whereas before he was really struggling. When we get to midfielders, I'm sure in the last 6 he's really high, but over the season he's well down. I'll just have a quick check where he is over the season, but I think he's one player who's really making them tick again. Yeah, he's 50th overall for the season for XG non-penalty, 0.37. When we get to midfielders, I'm sure he's a lot higher than that over the last 6 because of the surge of output that he's had in terms of shots and chances created recently. And I think he's the big reason why they're top of this table over the last 6. XG non-penalty per 90, 2.08, ahead of Newcastle, 2.02. So suddenly the 2 pieces of the puzzle for Arsenal, the attack and the defence, are coming together, aren't they?
Yeah.
Before, it was a little bit skewed toward defence, but they started to go through the gears in attack.
Well, we saw them on these tables, 10, 11 weeks ago, mid-table, didn't we? And we were saying it's not quite clicking with them. Havertz was a bit of a problem, whereas now he's getting them quite key goals as well. Odegaard's looking kind of better. Gabriel Jesus has come back, and I think he's had a big impact. He's been playing really well, and he's been in amongst the goals and kind of all the good attacking play too. And then just dominating with Rice in midfield. It's really, really impressive.
They've had the injuries, haven't they? So they're 1.61 over the season, Arsenal, but 2.08 over the last 6. So they have had a significant jump of late. I think you're right. I think it's Jesus coming back. It's Havertz finding his role. And, them in Martinelli back to fitness as well. All the pieces are back now. And so Arteta is beginning to shape them into a ruthless attacking unit. It all adds up to them, being favourites now, I would say.
Just so you know, Liverpool, who are 8th on this list, they have just hit 5 past West Ham today in the Cup.
And how many has Darwin got?
0 goals, 0 assists, I believe.
Oh, no.
There's no way he's starting against Arsenal, is there? Surely.
Well, it depends on the minutes tonight, doesn't it?
Gakpo's off and he's playing 90. Darwin's playing 90.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Okay.
That's going to be a problem. We'll have to talk about him in a bit more detail in a bit. Everton in 4th as well. Obviously, they've had the 4 wins, the 4 clean sheets. They have had the best fixtures alongside West Ham on this list. But, it's going well. I mean, the kind of under-the-radar pick is Calvert-Lewin, who is now playing a lot of minutes, seems to be over that injury. We're going to see him in the... it's 1 assist for Darwin. My apologies. But if you look at Calvert-Lewin's XGI, which we're going to be in a bit, it's massive. So Everton
trust
attack.
him, no. He'll break down, won't he? He'll break down. That's the thing. I don't know if I would hang my hat on him in terms of his fitness. I need to see him play 5, 6, 7 in a row, really.
Well, he has.
Has he? Beto's been coming off the bench. I'm sure Beto's interrupted that run.
I can tell you how many because
with
I saw it earlier.
He started at Forest. Beto started at Forest. Calvert-Lewin missed the Forest game, the away game. That wasn't long ago.
So Calvert-Lewin has started 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. He started 10 of the last 11 games, Calvert-Lewin.
So, okay, so was the Forest game the only game he didn't...
The Forest game was the only game he missed, yeah.
Oh, okay, well, I hadn't realised that. I thought
No, I saw it and I was
that.
really surprised. I mean, he hasn't done amazingly well over that period, don't get me wrong, but his XGI numbers are really high. I mean, against Newcastle, for example, 1.77, followed up against Chelsea, 0.63, Man United, 0.72. He's kind of snatching at chances. There's been a few games, hasn't there? I think against Man U, he had a header that he should have scored, or a volley was it that he should have buried. But I don't know. I feel like the minutes risk is maybe a bit less. And
yeah, I've got another name. If you're going to go outside of the preferred strikers, Solanke, Haaland, and Watkins are the three to get. Alvarez is in there as well. And then you're not looking at there's Darwin, but then there's other names. Calvert-Lewin is one. I've got another name. We'll look at that when we come to forwards.
Ooh.
Yeah. I think he's been coming through.
Let's have a look at some keepers. I had to make another goalkeeper move this week because I had Sanchez, who is out for a week. I mean, what an annoying transfer that is.
So you've done it already, have you?
Yeah, I've done it already. Yeah, you can have a guess as to who I've bought. Sanchez has gone, and then I had Turner, but I don't think Turner's going to play. I mean, I was actually looking at some Forest forums about Turner and Vlachodimos. Is that how you pronounce his name? And the fans hate them both, don't they? They both think they're absolute rubbish. That was the general sense that I've got. Some kind of general things that maybe Turner's a slightly better shot stopper, but he was really, really poor in that Spurs game. So it's completely up in the air. So I didn't want to take that risk. I've made a goalkeeper move. We've talked about quite a few of these before. I was looking at Leno. I was looking at Pickford as well. Onana's been doing really well as well. Big score for him against Liverpool. But I've gone for someone a little bit different. Didn't want to get Dubravka. That seems a bit too boring.
You didn't?
No, didn't get Dubravka. So I've gone with the World Cup winning Aston Villa goalkeeper.
You've paid for Martinez?
I've paid the extra for Emmy.
Interesting. I think he's a great signing for you. I guess the Conser option and going cheaper in goal would probably be my preferred route. But I guess you're getting to a point where you're going just get a good keeper. And
that's it. Yeah. I need someone solid. And actually, I think defence is where things are opening up a little bit. I didn't want to use it on a kind of an almost defensive defender in a way, because I think with Porro, with Trent, who I think I'm going to be bringing in pretty soon, potentially with Trippier if I use that money. I mean, I've got Livramento as well, and then I've obviously got the Gabriel spot. I just don't know where Conser or Pau Torres would kind of fit in to that. They're a bit kind of dull, whereas I think there's some quite exciting defensive options at the moment, and just get a nice solid keeper. I mean, Villa's run, just to show the fixtures, is actually really, really nice. Sheffield United, Manchester United, Burnley, Everton, Newcastle at home, crucially, and then Sheffield United, Manchester United, Fulham, Forest, Luton. I mean, they are great fixtures right up to 27. Yeah. So you talk about set and forget. That's why I did it. So
yeah, no, I think getting some backing of that Villa defence is worthwhile. I just think Conser with fixtures is the way to go myself. I mean, I like Pau Torres, but I think he's got a knock at the moment, so we don't know if he's going to be fit for the Sheffield United game. The only thing with Martinez is you will be playing your wild card, right? So at some point, so he's only your keeper till then, isn't he? So I guess it's long enough though.
The problem is that going to have an impact on me being able to bring Haaland back in at some point? Because if I'm bringing in Trent as well, I'm going to be losing Son, but then obviously I won't be able to get Son back if he gets knocked out of the Asia Cup. So there's always ramifications, isn't there, for paying a bit more of the premium. But I need points now, Mark. I can't keep waiting for 10 game weeks time to make decisions.
Have you looked at your money in that period? Have you worked out what you're going to do?
I think the Richarlison option opens things up a little bit, because moving Son down to Richarlison obviously frees up quite a bit of money. So,
do you think you're going to be happy keeping with that then? Is that the idea?
We'll see how he does. Obviously, things will change, but at the moment, I think it's okay. and we'll kind of see how Son performs it, how far he gets in the cup, because there's no guarantee that he goes off. Say South Korea do really well and he comes back, is he going to be straight in and backfiring? He's got to make up quite a lot of. If Richarlison carries on in the vein that he's doing, Son for like 4 million more, nearly 4 million more, he's going to have to really go the extra.
The only thing for me is like when you take Son out of that Spurs team, are you not taking away a major source of creativity? It's like when you take. We talked about going Darwin when Salah's not there, but Salah's a big creator for Liverpool.
True.
You take Son out for Spurs, and is that Spurs attack going to be effective with Brennan and Kulusevski feeding Richarlison?
I mean, it hasn't got to be Richarlison. I mean, if the signs aren't there, then it could be another 6-ish million kind of midfielder. It hasn't got to be him, but I think we've got to be considering Richarlison, right? Given what he's doing, but we'll talk about him when we.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's similar for Bowen. Like I like Bowen potentially as replacing either Son or Salah, but then Kudus is not going to be there. So it's almost like every feasible option to come in to replace Son and Salah is in a team weakened by the fact that those players are gone.
Yeah,
it's hard to find. Odegaard being the exception. I don't think Arsenal weakened significantly by AFCON in attacking areas. So I think Odegaard is tempting for that reason. But he is, it is a punt, isn't it, over Richarlison and Bowen, because both Bowen and Richarlison, Bowen in particular, has been proven over the season, whereas Odegaard certainly hasn't. Not really, not yet. Yeah.
I mean, you could afford them both, couldn't you? You could go Bowen and Odegaard from the Salah and Son.
If you're selling both, yeah. I mean, is that what you intend to do? Are you going to... I guess it's just an opportunity for you to just flush it all out and move the cash around and go for it, right? Is that what you're going to do?
I think if I can use the money in a good way, then yes. But like we're talking about, if my team is going to be filled with 6-7 million mids, and I can still get Haaland and I can keep Salah on the bench, is there any real benefit? Because there's apart from Odegaard, there's no one over 8.5 million worth considering. And Odegaard is still a question mark about whether he's going to really hit the highs of what he did last year.
I guess the question is what we get to next is Trent, right?
Yeah, and look, that's a lovely segue to defenders. I mean, I saw a post from Bateman earlier, which was it's madness for us to be putting all of our money in defence. And I think the exact opposite. I think this is exactly the time to be putting our money into defence. I think if you've got a defence at the moment of Porro, Trent and Trippier, surely you're laughing, right? They've got it all going for them.
Yeah, I don't think you can get to that low and then have Haaland, Salah and Son. So you've got to make a decision.
You can't. No. But you keep that. You don't go for Haaland until Son and Salah leave for AFCON, and then you sell one of them to bring Haaland back. Yeah,
it's a lot of transfers though, isn't it? So
it's not for everyone. I mean, a lot of people have already got Porro and Trippier in place anyway.
I think having two of that three, Trent, Trippier, and Porro, having two of the three is probably having all three is optimum, but I don't know how you're going to do that and not leave yourself in a situation where you won't be able to stretch to get... I mean, Son might not be a player to get back in, because if he carries on playing out on the left... You've got to think that will impact his output over the season, rather than be playing down the middle where he looked so profitable. We don't know yet. We haven't got enough data.
But then he got the big haul against Newcastle, didn't he? Playing.
He got 2 assists, yeah,
and a goal.
Yeah, he did,
and a pen.
Yeah, sorry, he got the pen, and that was the first pen of the season as well, wasn't it? So it's almost like that was there as to skew things a little bit.
Know.
If there was a game where we could do with him not winning the pen, it was that one. So we could go, oh no, definitely look, there's a drop off, but. We haven't got enough sample data to know whether that's going to be the case. But we can assume that it will have some impact, right? Do you not think?
Yeah. Well, it should do, and that's why Richarlison playing up front is so tempting, because he's kind of taken that role that Son had and looked so effective in. I mean, Son has played on the left plenty over the years and done really well. When Kane was there and he won the Golden Boot, he was playing off the left. So. I mean, he had a player willing to drop deep and spray the play a lot more, and had one of the best players we've ever had in the Premier League playing with him. I'm not quite sure Richarlison's at that level, but yeah, it depends what. And Maddison's back as well, isn't he, in January, which obviously I think helps both of them. But yeah, I think Salah's a lock. When he comes back, we're all going to be moving back to Salah. But I think you're right. Yeah. Son is the one that we. that we could consider.
You say that, but I said in the video I did in the week, like Trent's come in with 55 points in the last 6 game weeks, and Salah, 43 to 55, I think it is, 53 to 45. So 8 more points Trent's got in the last 6 game weeks, and that's almost happened without us really noticing that Salah's kind of dropped below Trent in output. I knew that Trent was doing well. I didn't think he was outscoring Salah over a period like that. So you say that we're going to go back to him, are we? Because, I mean, we have him because he's the alternative captain to Haaland. But Trent is doing enough to say, well, when Liverpool got a good fixture, you could go him, particularly if he stays in that midfield role, which, where he seems to be effective.
I think that's the thing, is that I think with the uncertainty around all this, you could not risk it. You could not use these funds and kind of play it quite safe, keep Haaland, leave Salah on your, I don't know, but it feels like, to me, it just feels like this is an opportunity to attack it a bit more. And I think the defensive kind of fullbacks and the attackers are the way to go. Interestingly, I haven't got any of Porro, Trent or Trippier. So you mentioned about using lots of transfers. Yeah, I'm going to have to, and I'm probably going to bring one in for a hit this week. I'm not sure which one should be the priority. So you mentioned 2 of the 3. Which 2 would you go for? I'm guessing Trippier would be the one you drop, right? Because the fixtures.
If you look at the ticker, the fixtures favour Trippier for the next 2 or 3, don't they?
They do for 2, but then it turns really bad for Newcastle. They've got they've got Luton and Forest next.
Yeah, sorry, I was.
But
picking
then it's
the Fulham game.
Liverpool away, City and Villa.
Yeah, so
that.
my take is that I will probably sell Trippier in 20 to get Haaland back, because in the week I did a video in the week and said that I'll probably sell Son and Salah. One of Son and Salah probably will be Salah, because that will give me the option, give me more money to go to Trent. But I'm now thinking that I can actually move Darwin to Haaland without selling Son and Salah in 20. So I can hold both Son and Salah for 20 and then make my mind up in 21 on which I sell. And holding both for 20 means that I get, obviously, Son at home to Bournemouth. Salah's got Newcastle at home, but they're both home games. So selling one of them when they've got a home game seems a little bit risky. So if I can get away with not selling either in 20, it might give me a little bit of an advantage, because I think a lot of people will be selling then to get Haaland back.
If he's back.
Well, let's say I think he will be. I mean, today's tweet with him kicking a ball would indicate he's going to be back for Sheffield United in my book.
Do they need to play him against Sheffield United at home?
Well, that's the argument, isn't it?
Because they could. I mean, we don't know what's happening, but they could, for instance, rush him back for Everton, because that's a tougher game, the way Everton are playing. Get him through that, and then rest him in the Sheffield United game. We don't know. I'm just purely speculating. He could be out for both. He could be back for Everton and play Sheffield United at home. I mean, basically, I'm saying this because I've pretty much committed to not getting back to Haaland until at least 21.
Oh, you're not? Okay.
I won't have him for 20 because I want Trent in for that Burnley game.
There's a decent gap. I mean, I guess it's only 4 or 5 days. Yeah. I mean, I would have. Yeah. Yeah, maybe. They don't rest him though, do they? He's either not going to play. He's either not going to play against Everton and Sheffield United. I would think that would be more likely than him playing one and resting the other.
Yeah, you could be right.
But you're right. They don't need him at home at Sheffield United, arguably. But they're not running away with the title, are they? They're actually behind, so they've got to win game. They've got to make sure they've put their strongest. I mean, I've got to say, I don't think Alvarez has done a great job in what I've seen so far. I mean, Foden's had to play up front as well. They do seem to lack a cutting edge, obviously, without the world's best striker.
Yeah.
Surprise.
A team they've spent the last 2 seasons gearing up to have all of their attacking play focused on.
So I don't think Pep will be complacent enough to think, well, I can rest him myself. But we'll see. Yeah, I mean, let's say he is back for Sheffield United, and we know he is, then a lot of managers will be moving one of Son and Salah out to get Haaland back. So I'm looking at it thinking, if I can get Darwin out to Haaland in 20 without selling Son and Salah, that might be a little bit of an advantage. So that's what I'm probably going to do. So Trippier is going to go for those fixtures, for those two, because it's Liverpool, City, Villa. They're arguably the 3 strongest teams at the moment. There's only Arsenal missing from that quartet, I would say. Liverpool away, City at home, Villa away. I mean, Villa away is as tough as it comes at the moment, aren't they? So I can't see a Newcastle clean sheet there. So I'm selling him. I probably will go Trippier to Porro and then Darwin to Haaland in 20. is my plan, and then make up my mind on Son and Salah after that.
It's a very interesting period, isn't it? Because I mean, everyone's midfield is the same. Like, there's, you've got Bailey, I've got Gordon, we've got Son, we've got Salah, we've got Saka. Everyone's got those. Everyone's got Palmer now. Like, those four are just locked in. Pretty much every team you see, those four are in. But the Haaland is really, changing people's ideas, because some people are holding him and just going to say, well, he's going to be back and I'm going to want him. Some people are selling him and keeping the money in the bank. Right. Yeah, they are. I mean, some people are just saying, I'm benching him, and once he's back for Sheffield United, everyone's going to be scrambling around taking hits to bring him back, and I'm just going to have him in place. Like, you and I have sold him. We've got 7 million in the bank that we don't really know whether to spend or whether to not spend to keep that in there. It's an interesting, and we're not getting any concrete information about whether he's fit or not.
I'm not going to spread the funds. I think that getting to a point where in order to get Salah or Haaland back, you've got to make 3 or 4 transfers would be too risky for me. I don't mind moving one away. So what I'll probably do is I will get Trent in, I imagine, with some of the money in the bank. When I sell Salah, I'll probably get Trent in. Because I'm kind of looking at it thinking, will I be in a rush to get Salah back? I probably will be if he comes back for 24 and it's home to Burnley. I might not be if it's away to Brentford 25. So. Or away at Arsenal in 23. So it really depends on how far Egypt get in the tournament, don't they? Or I might just sell Son and then not get Trent. I'd have to look at how it works with the money. If I can sell Trippier and Son and get Porro and Trent as well as Haaland back, that's probably what I'll do, but I haven't checked if that's what I can do yet. So many variables, isn't it? You're right. This is if I was in your shoes, I'd be going for it. I'd be attacking it.
I've got to, and I've got the wild card in case it gets to 21-22 and I'm panicking because Salah's back early from AFCON and I've sold him, and Haaland's back and looks fit. Then I've got the wild card, and like I said, the bench boost isn't a factor for me like going forward. So it's less important for me really to keep that kind of chip. Super chat from Jason. He can do Gahey and Gordon to Trippier and Bailey, which leaves the exact cash for Haaland back. Gahey and Gordon to Trippier and Bailey. Yeah, that's not a bad move.
Seems worth it to me.
Already got Porro, double Arsenal. Terence Trent Derby for New Year. That was a good old Scoutcast reference back in the day, wasn't it?
Yeah, when Trent was an unknown quantity back then.
You got him in.
4.5 he was worth.
Absolutely amazing.
I mean, I'll wait for the Emery team news to see if he says anything about Bailey before doing that. Or you think we're going to get a presser tomorrow from Emery, so I'd hold on for that. I'd do that though. I think that's worthwhile. Interesting. There was another comment here I saw. Alex saying, I don't understand why someone would sell Haaland and not use the funds. Yeah, I use some of them, but would you spread it around 3 or 4 players and leave yourself at a point where if you need to move back to Haaland, or if you're doing it with the Salah funds, you need to move back to Salah, you can't do it without making hits? That's the question. I think. And how many players actually warrant you to spread that around?
It has to go in defence because there isn't enough midfielders. Yeah, there isn't enough midfielders to warrant it. There's no 8 million mids.
There's value in midfield where you don't need to, basically, isn't there?
Exactly.
So it's in defence where the money will go. It's whether or not you go for all 3 of Trippier, Porro and Trent, which would mean spreading the funds and probably taking hits if you needed to move back to Salah or Haaland, or whether you just go for 2 of the 3, which probably means you don't have to. So it's your appetite for attacking it, and if you're ranked 1.7 million like Az is, you go for it. If you're ranked in the top 100k, you probably don't.
A little.
No, that's just
little
the way it
dig
is.
In there.
No, it's just it does affect.
As if you haven't dig me enough with your Santa Claus up the tree.
People like Luke, well, I'll put the voice on in a minute. People like Luke will go, oh no, my rank doesn't make any difference to the decisions I make. Right? Well, good for Luke, but I think it does for a lot of people. Right? It does for me. If I'm ranked 3 or 4 million in the world, I'm going to be attacking it. If I'm ranked 100k, I'm going to be, I don't need to attack it. I need to be, I need to be kind of like careful with the risks that I take. And I think that's most managers. I think it probably isn't the right thing to do. It probably is better to not let your rank affect your decision making. But it's a human thing, isn't it, to do that? In that, if you feel that you've got to make up ground and you've got to do something, you've got to take more risks with your decision making, you will if you're ranked lower. I mean, when I say lower, I mean you're ranked in the millions.
Yes, we know what you mean, thank you. Dig again.
Well, it's not a dig at you, honestly, but I'd be doing exactly the same in your shoes. I think I'd spread the funds out a little bit more.
It's interesting as well because we've got the comment from Alex on the screen, but then Sam Vimes is the completely opposite way. A lot of people are going to regret getting rid of Haaland with no easy way to get him back. So there's always that risk reward element to it, but I just think Trent and Porro at the moment just look so. I'm sure Porro's got a. I mean, he nearly had an 18-pointer against Newcastle until they scored in virtually like the last kick of the game. He would have a huge haul in that game. Trent's got one. Trent's got one coming as well. I'm sure he has, and I think it could be against Burnley.
If you look at this, 0.54 XG on penalty per 90 for Porro, 0.40 for Trent. Porro numbers are particularly scary, and against Forest he was denied a goal by a block by Murillo late on. That was heart in mouth moment when he had that shot. Yeah, so those three, Porro, Trent and Trippier, if you can get all three and still have a way back to Haaland or Salah with maybe one hit, then do it, because a hit will probably be worth owning those three for this forthcoming period, because eventually, I imagine there'll be a few hauls coming, a few double figures coming amongst those three players. Yeah.
I just want to call out a few more here. So the Trent and Tsimikas. So Trent's in third, XG non-penalty per 90 of 0.4. Tsimikas is in 27th, not bad, but XG non-penalty per 90 of 0.15. So you really are kind of getting what you pay for. I mean, his chances created per 90 is 2.4, which is still in the top 10 of defenders over this period. And his points per 90 is good, but it's now the question marks were: is it worth it? Is that money kind of better spent? But I think at the moment, I mean, that's what I'm looking at doing. Tsimikas to Trent looks just a solid move. We don't know when Robertson's back, do we? But we think it's probably fairly imminent, as in the next month or so.
Okay, yeah, but he's served us well. I said in the week,
done all right. Yeah,
only 3 defenders have scored more than him since he came into the Liverpool side. Since he started, only Van Dijk, Trent, and who was it? It must be Porro who scored more. Or not Porro. Who was it? Who was the other defender who scored more? Can't remember. It's gone off my mind now. Trippier, of course. Yeah, has scored more since he came into the side. So he served us very well. It was the right move to go to him, and we might not have long left. I mean, the thing is that you can move to these 3 defenders, but it doesn't mean there isn't value elsewhere, because we've said about the Villa defenders. I think they could easily have good returns over that period that we spotted earlier in the ticker, and I do think that some of the Newcastle defenders, Livramento, maybe his start is at risk now that Dan Burn's back. I guess you got to think that, but you can go to Botman, can't you? He's what, 4-4 now, I presume. Is he 4-4? Has he dropped? So if Botman's 4-4. Yeah, he's going to be a regular starter again very soon, and with Shah out, then he's probably going to have to be starting every game from now, I would say. I mean, Lascelles will stay in the team until Shah's fit, I would have thought. So going back to Botman's not a bad route. So there are options around the 4-5 bracket that are not to be sneezed at. But I think you've got to have at least 2 of Porro, Trent and Trippier in the next 5 or 6 weeks. Trippier fades, of course, when the fixtures get tougher. But the next
and with how he's playing at the moment a little bit.
Yeah, I guess I don't know how much you read into that, though. I don't know. It's difficult to say what's behind that. So I'm still confident going to Luton he'll get something, clean sheet at least. So.
Livramento's interesting though, isn't it? Because I've got him. He's right down in 61st. Like he's nothing to write home about in terms of XG, non-penalty per 90. But performance-wise, he's been excellent. He's been consistently good across every game he's played for them. So obviously Burns being a good, reliable left back as well. But it'll be interesting to see what Howe decides to do with that. Obviously, there's risk, but Howe doesn't tend to rotate. That's the thing. I don't think it's going to be a case of Burn will play one week and Livramento play the next
Europe
week.
Now.
Yeah,
they're out of Europe full stop, aren't they? So they're not even in Europa. So there isn't that need to rotate as much.
But then it's not like one of them's just not going to play at all. So I don't really know. I don't know if Howe thinks Livramento's done enough to keep that left back spot as his own, or whether Burn comes back in.
I think he has, but I think Burn will play at Luton anyway because of the height. They need that at set plays, don't they? So I wouldn't be surprised if Livramento... If Lascelles and Botman start centre-back, then Burn will probably start left-back, I think. I would have thought in that game. But he might... I think Livramento's been excellent. I think he really should start a left-back over Burn, but we'll see how loyal
what happens.
How he is, yeah.
Yep. We had a couple of super chats, thanks to Chris Asso. Wildcard 20 have Cash, Porro, Lascelles, Tsimikas, Bulldog. That's a blast from the past. Should have used a free transfer in defence. Punting 18, I'll move Gordon out for a punt like Bailey. Actually, that's a good shout because that will lead us nicely onto midfielders, where we're going to talk about Gordon in a bit more detail. Pickford versus Raya. Guess you play Pickford this week? Tough one, though. They've both got a difficult game, Spurs and Liverpool. Don't think you play Raya against Liverpool away.
No, you play Pickford, I think.
Yeah. We will talk about, we'll answer the rest of this question in a sec, Chris, because we're going to mention Gordon. Also, a shout out to Caleb, who needs to leave. Merry Christmas, boys. Wow, really generous super chat, $20. Thanks very much. Don't get Palmer, he's a trap, hasn't done anything on FPL. Caleb had vice captain Palmer points this week.
Oh.
Captain, you won't believe who his captain was to get that vice captain points. It wasn't Solanke, no. No, to get the vice captain, Darwin played, didn't he? It was.
Sorry.
It was Nkunku.
Wow, that is maverick,
isn't it? Absolutely, yeah. We can only dream of being. I mean, he is like 3 million in the world, but he got that one.
He's a very early to Nkunku, isn't he?
He is.
Basically. I mean that he could be a factor yet in our season.
Absolutely, I hope he is. But he looks a very exciting. I mean, he took his penalty well yesterday too, so I have to see kind of where he goes. Midfielders last 6, a few that I've highlighted here. We've mentioned Richarlison already. Look at that XG on put it for 90, 0.74. That's second best, only to Grealish, surprisingly.
Grealish is a surprise, isn't he? I mean, he's had the returns, the 3 goals, but I didn't realise he was totting up the numbers as well. He's not in the top 10 for shots or chances created, and yet his XGI is very high. Obviously, the quality of the chance he's getting was high. That's the reason behind that. Yeah, Richarlison, I think. Do you think he's in that central role to stay? That's the question now. Or do you think when Songa comes back from the Asia Cup? Because some of the comments that Andrew's made, he's kind of indicated that he's playing Richarlison down the middle for certain opponents. But I'm not so sure. What do you think?
I think it depends on how he does over the next month. I think he's been given the opportunity to win that lone striker spot. And if he can continue with the rate he's going, and with Maddison back, and he should be able to. He looks. I don't think he looks like, because there's all this thing about he had an injury before and that was kind of hampering himself. He doesn't look any different. He still looks quite kind of like laboured a little bit and things, but he kind of gets into the right positions and has got the returns. But I don't think he's suddenly massively energized and looks a different player. He was always busy, wasn't he? Like when we had him at the start of the season, but the returns just weren't there. It just feels like he's doing the same now, but now the returns are coming. So I want to see a few more games from him.
But maybe it's up here. It's just confidence.
I think it is.
Maybe.
I think it is.
Yeah. Okay, so you've highlighted Havertz here. Surely not. You've tried a few times this season to try and sell me that, but
I had to highlight 3 goals his last 4 games, down to 7.1 at a time when obviously players are leaving, and he's definitely growing into that role now after a bit of a shaky start. I always like the look of him in that 8 type role. XG on 0.69. Going to get a lot of stick for even suggesting him, but if you're looking for an Arsenal mid to double up with Saka, he's a punt.
Well, he's in the top 10 for shots and touches in the box here, isn't he? So his numbers are good. Getting the supporting data. Is his start absolutely assured? That's the only thing. I think I'd rather chance on Odegaard than Havertz, I would say. But yeah, it's impressive the way he's climbed his table. I think this is the first time I've seen Havertz this high in any of our tables since he's been in the Premier League. Maybe not. Maybe he did have a good spell at Chelsea, but I think you can probably say at the moment that he's probably having his best run of form in a couple of seasons.
Yeah,
he's been in the
definitely.
Premier League for 3 seasons now. I don't remember any time last year where he looked this convincing. He is beginning to blip on the radar, but I just think Odegaard's the way to go if you're going to go for a second Arsenal attacker. I mean, he's down there 0.58 in 12. As I said, he's 50th overall, 12th over the last 6 game weeks. That shows you the progress he's made in recent weeks. He's only got the 1 goal, 1 assist, but then you're not going on the output of recent. You're going for what you hope to get when you sell Son and Salah. And I wouldn't be surprised if some people do take a chance on Odegaard. Given that Arsenal were
sounds
top
like
of
you
that
want to take
attacking
a
table.
chance on Odegaard.
Yeah,
based
I
on
am
what you
tempted.
said tonight.
I am tempted because for me, I don't think there's an obvious standout for me at the moment. There's Richarlison, there's Bowen, and there's players like Kulusevski and Odegaard who, will tempt us during that 3 or 4 match run, whatever it will be. And obviously, if you're getting rid of Son and Salah, you've got to get 2 in, haven't you? If you haven't got Palmer, it's a no-brainer. You go to him, obviously, I think. But I think it's really up for grabs. Do you not think the place is up for grabs?
Absolutely. And I think that leads us nicely onto the Gordon replacement, because if he is injured, it was an awful tackle from Casado. Don't know if you saw Harry's video earlier. There's a very amusing clip where he goes, it could have been a red card. Maybe it should have been a red card. It probably should have been a red. It was definitely a red card. Did he go all the way through? Goes all the way through the motions. We don't know how long
he's so early, isn't it? 2 minutes in.
I know, and he just couldn't recover from it, and obviously went off afterwards. I mean, Howe has said Gordon has a almost superhuman ability to recover from knocks and niggles and things, and that's why he's been playing kind of almost every minute. He went off in the Champions League with that hamstring tightness, and then came on and played straight away in the next game against Fulham, where he got the assist. So it remains seen whether he's out or not. We're not going to get a presser from Howe before the deadline either, so we're not really gonna know. But again, this might be an opportunity to move on. Quite a popular player, and this is the players that we've kind of highlighted based on our own kind of thoughts, and also the most bought players of the week, which is why Kudos is in there, because obviously he's going to AFCON. I don't think either of us would really suggest buying him at the moment, but he is being bought quite heavily. So the players we've highlighted are Palmer, Sterling, Kulusevski, Richarlison, Bailey's in there, which I think is your doing, to be honest. Bowen and Kudus. Where would you go if you had Gordon? Would you move off Gordon if you had him?
I think he's out myself. I know Howe described it as a nasty injury, didn't he, after the game? Maybe he did that just to layer on the guilt on the non-red card. So maybe we shouldn't read too much into that. I don't know if we're going to get a presser from Howe tomorrow in time for deadline. Maybe we will.
I don't think we are, from what I've been reading.
Right, okay. I'd go to Richarlison, I think, if I was moving off him. If I could get that far. Palmer, obviously, if I didn't have him. And then out of this lot, probably Richarlison. If Emery said Bailey was fit, then I'd get him because he's home to Sheffield United. Why wouldn't you? I mean, he is amongst the most bought. I didn't just put him in here because he's my player. He is amongst the 7 most bought midfielders in that bracket, and his data's the best here in terms of XGI non-penalty per 90. And he's at home to Sheffield United. So I think if I knew that Bailey was starting, wouldn't you go Bailey?
No.
Home to Sheffield United, 59% goal involvement?
No, because I wouldn't want him short to medium term, because I just never trust that he's going to play. I think the fitness
You wouldn't want him short term?
Well, okay. short to medium. Okay, what we're saying? One game is short term. I mean,
we don't know how long Gordon's out.
We don't even know if he's going to. If he was back and fit and completely available to Sheffield United, can you say 100% that he plays that game over the RB?
Yeah.
You think?
Oh yeah, of course he does. Yeah, he's first choice over Diaby, I would say, for certain.
I'm not as sure as you are that he is. And I mean, that's why you've got him and I haven't. Bailey just isn't someone that I'm looking at. I'd probably have any other player on this list over Bailey except maybe Kudus, maybe not Sterling. I don't really want Sterling.
The thing is, all the others other than Palmer are a step up.
Yeah.
So you've got to find money for all the others.
That's true.
So the reason why Bailey's an option is because if you're going Gordon and you can't go up to 7 million players, you've either got Kudos or you've got Palmer, who most people have got. So I think if you're having to go around the same bracket, I think Bailey's the best option. It is short term because we don't, and he probably we're not going to hear from Emery tomorrow, or there'll probably be doubt over his start. So I'm just saying, if we were certain he starts against Sheffield United, I think he's worth a short term pick. Depends how long Gordon's out for as well, doesn't it? Like you say, he's got superhuman powers of recovery, and Gordon's probably a player that... The only thing is Newcastle got that run over there, Liverpool, City, at Villa, as we said, in 2021 and 22. So if you do get rid of Gordon, you probably want to not get him back, and even if he's back for Forest in 20, are you going to want to hold him through Liverpool, City, Villa? Maybe not. So actually, perhaps you aren't looking for a short-term replacement. Which makes me go, Richarlison, if you, like I said at the start, Richarlison if you can get to him, or Bowen if you can get to him.
What about Kulu in the 10?
Yeah, Kulu in the 10 I like, because it's a bit like the Odegaard thing, isn't it? It's like we haven't quite seen enough to go, for the masses to go that way, it is definitely a maverick pick, Kulusevski. But we've seen a small sample of data to suggest, his last 2 games have been his best 2 in terms of XGI all season. And those have been the 2 where he started in the 10. He did move out to the right against Forest eventually when the sending off came. But he started in the 10 and he looked effective again. So I think I would put Kulusevski in the bracket like Odegaard of, he's a bit of a flair pick. You don't have, perhaps the not most sensible route, but it's the one to go to if you're trying to make up a gap and really want to be punty with your picks. Otherwise, it's definitely Richarlison or Bowen. Or if you've got to be in the same bracket, I do think Bailey's all right. But much depends on what we hear from Emery.
I mean, 11 games and he had 2 returns over that period. That was from game week.
Kulusevski?
Yeah, that was from game week 6 to 15. 16. So that's the worry with him, is that his stats have been good all season, really. His chances created stats have been really, really high, but he just hasn't been getting returns at all. And so you've got to really be hoping that shift to the 10 massively helps him. But then he's more money than Richarlison, who's also been shifted out of position. I don't really know why you would.
And Richarlison could be on the pens.
Exactly, and
we don't
most likely will be, I think, with
so Richarlison's definitely the prime pick here. If you can get up to Richarlison, that's where you probably go. The fixtures are good as well. The only factor is when Son's gone, are they going to be as effective in attack? If Maddison comes back, then probably yes. But I don't know how soon that is.
Yep. I just think we just had did we have another super chat? Oh, yeah, we had 2 more super chats as well.
They're coming in tonight.
They are. Thank you all
for the
very
generosity, and maybe because it's Christmas. Like you tip people at Christmas. Maybe that's what they're doing.
Well, it's very generous. We really appreciate it.
It is.
And we've got 1,600 people watching live, which is amazing.
Oh wow!
Do give us a like if you haven't already. Make sure you're subscribed to the channel. I think you have to be to comment as well. But if you're listening and wondering why you can't write a message, do give us a subscribe. And if you're listening on the pod version, we would love a review as well. So do write us one of those.
I do like to read those.
Yeah, absolutely. How 9,000 though? Nice easy one, Mark. Would you start Cash or Soufal?
Soufal, I think, because I'm not certain about the Cash start. Kamara's out, suspended. And the reason why that's significant is he's the player who drops back into the back 3 to allow Cash to come forward if he starts at right back. The question is, who do they bring in for Kamara? But I think they bring in Aaron Ramsey. Jacob Ramsey, sorry. Aaron Ramsey's his brother. Jacob Ramsey to cover the absence of Kamara. And if they do that, that's a more attacking move. They'll probably play Konsa right back. So I don't think Cash starts, personally.
The upside's there, though, isn't it, with Cash? If he does get a start on the right wing, if Bailey's out, if he does start at right back against Sheffield United, you'll be kicking yourself more if you don't play Cash and he starts.
Yeah, it's a bit like me with Bailey, isn't it?
It is.
It's like I've got to start him, haven't I?
I'd hate to be in that position with Cash because I just wouldn't know. I mean, a lot of people are selling him this week, which I get.
Although I draw the comparison to the Bailey situation, Bailey is far more likely to get something off the bench if he doesn't. And also, over 90 minutes, Bailey is more likely to get something. I guess Cash gets the clean sheet if he stays on to the hour, doesn't he? I don't think he'll start, though. I think he'll play Konsa. I think Ramsey will come in for Kamara in an attacking move, because why would they make a defensive move? But I guess you could then argue, why do they need to play Konsa? Why wouldn't they go Cash and just go for it?
It's not a great fixture for Soufal, though, with Manchester United at home.
United, no.
Oh, I don't know.
Probably worth the gamble, isn't it?
Yeah, I think I'd lean towards the gamble, but...
Yeah, go on then.
Yeah,
yep.
I've talked you into Kel. Sorry, I'm so sorry.
Well, I said earlier, haven't I? I said earlier when I don't play aggressively, it's when I come a cropper. So this is quite an aggressive move to play Cash. It's risking stuff.
You'd be kicking yourself less for like 6 points lost than you would be for like 17 if Cash started. And
Cash will get on.
Yeah,
Cash will get minutes, and he might actually get a chance in that time because he might come on in an advanced position. He might come on for Bailey maybe, or Diaby. So if Bailey's not fit, so yeah, definitely. Let's go Cash. You're right.
Okay. Oh, good.
It's Christmas. Let's spoil ourselves with a gamble.
And then the final super chat from Doy, another $20. Really generous. Thank you so much. No question for us. Just Merry Christmas to 2 legends. Are we legends, Mark? Would you class us as legends? I think.
Is anyone who does this kind of thing?
I think that
really
is
classed as a legend?
that is a real stretch. But you know what? We'll take it. Just for your hard work.
We worry about being called experts.
I know, legends. Cheers for all your hard work this year. Hoping for a big 2024. Yeah, 2024 should be good for BlackBox, right? We've got.
Yeah, we're doing more all the time, aren't we? And we'll just keep that going and see where it takes us. Really, it's been good just doing more stuff, and hopefully we can keep late tackle up and. You've got to get back to your team selection vids again.
I've been slack with those. I said to myself, once I get back in the top million, I'll start those up again.
Oh, I see. It's dependent on how you're doing.
I'm not gonna lie. It's pretty depressing doing a video about my team at 3 million in the world. You know, it's like I try not to let the rank bother me and stuff. And I get very, very few comments of people saying, you know, why are you bothering with this and why are you doing that? It's nothing about that at all. I just the motivation just isn't really there, you know? And it's sad because I love doing BlackBox, don't get me wrong, but when it's just me on my own talking about my crappy season,
that's a mistake you made, because I made my videos not about my team. I know, you've done luckily. Well. So because I know exactly the same, because sometimes I have to get up quite early in the mornings to do some of those. And it's like, if I was talking about my team and I had to get into the park at 7:30, I'd be like, nah.
Well, this is it.
Let's not do that. So,
I've got to do them before work starts. So I've got to start prepping them. You know, if I do the video at 9, I've got to start prepping at like kind of 8ish or something. Walk the dog before that. I've got to probably get up at like 6:30. It's quite it's a bit of a slog sometimes, but they will come back. I do really enjoy them, and I really like the people that watch them and stuff. It's just, for now they're parked. But
you should come up with a new angle. You could do. Legends usually coincides with old, says Roynish Jahubo. He's right, actually, isn't he? So,
he's very right.
Don't know where he's going with that, but there you
go. Get Luke on. Yeah, that's not a bad idea. Matt Francis hasn't Sam such a superb. Yeah, we're actually doing the Q&A for Scout tomorrow at 9. So
do love those.
Yeah, she's having a good season as well. Let's take a look at some forwards. Then, so we got Solanke top of the pile, 0.96, scored a goal against Luton. I would say you can't take that away from him, but you absolutely can. Yep, and they have. Looks a good pick though, doesn't he? Still, I mean, Forest next, decent run of fixtures after that.
Yeah, I've no qualms in getting him in, because he's had a couple of price rises, and I think he'll go on getting price rises. He'll cause Forest problems. I think. I don't expect Bournemouth to score a load of goals against Forest, but it's a good fixture still. And going forward, I mean, Bournemouth's run isn't easy. They've got Fulham, I think, after that, haven't they? Then Spurs, Liverpool, West Ham, Forest again, Fulham. It's not terrible. And you know, you look at Spurs and Liverpool, and you think, and West Ham, you're going to get chances in those games. And the way Bournemouth are playing, the confidence they got, I think they'll create chances against anybody. We saw them go to Old Trafford and rip them to shreds, quite frankly. So I know United aren't the greatest, but it's still some feat. Like I said, we have to reclassify Bournemouth now and get rid of our past thinking with them. And that goes with Solanke as well. I think he's a different player now. We're looking at a different type of fantasy asset. And he's in that 6 bracket, 6.8 now he is. He was 6.5 on pens. That's the other thing as well.
Yeah.
So, excellent buy. I do think that Solanke, Haaland, Watkins are the 3. Now, there is possibly people who break into that. Darwin could have done, but I don't think he's probably out of our thinking now. And Kunku could be the wild card, right? He could be the one that he's not in this table of calls because there's not enough data yet. But we got to, a lot was expected of him. He was even expected to get penalties. I don't think he will, because Palmer's ice cold, isn't he? Mm-hmm. Where do you stand on that? Do you think we've got a new template in a 3 strike? So are we going to play 3-4-3 and it's going to be Solanke, Haaland and Watkins for the rest of the season?
No, I don't think so. I mean, I'm still 5 in midfield. I still think there's a lot to be said about that. I mean, the difference is kind of over the next month. That's when we lose arguably the two best midfielders. So that's when that third striker spot opens. And I mean, actually, if you look at this list, there are strikers that we consider. We mentioned Solanke. We've got Jesus with 0.7 XG on penalty per 90 as well. Alvarez as well. I mean, if Haaland is out for a little bit against Sheffield United, he might be a pick. I know he hasn't really been delivering for us, but if he does playing up front against Sheffield United and Haaland is out, he's got to be someone that we consider
Yeah,
kind of surely.
I guess so.
So yeah, I don't know. I think it's where we're going to see a bit of a divergence in that, because I think the three of Watkins, Haaland, and Solanke does look really strong, but then the template 5 in midfield is also so strong. I think if Gordon's fit, it's still hard to take Gordon out, even with the fixtures the way they are. Because I mean, for someone who hasn't blanked once in a home match all season, that level of consistency for 6 million is unbelievable.
Yeah, 10 returns in 9 at home it is. Not quite the same away from home, but then Newcastle. Yeah, I agree. I guess it's a close run call between, like, would you rather have Solanke or Gordon? I guess the money's in favour of Gordon, but Solanke's on pens and playing for a new look Bournemouth, right, who are right up there with Newcastle in the attacking data, right? So previously you'd say, well, Newcastle are the better attacking team, but they haven't been compared to Bournemouth over the last 6. So the jury's still out on whether Bournemouth can keep that up. I don't know. I've gone for having the 3 up top and a rotation, and I've had to not get Gordon because of that. I couldn't afford him because I've got Trippier still. So when I sell Trippier, I've got to make a decision as whether I go to Gordon and give myself a benching headache. That's the thing, isn't it? It's the headache of who to play in any given week. Luckily, one of my strikers is Darwin, so that makes it very easy.
Bloody
but when I move him out to Haaland, it's going to get tougher. Yeah,
we've both got that issue to deal with this week. We'll come to that in a minute when we talk about the team section. I mean, Darwin's stats aren't bad, but he just can't score. Big chances per 90 of 1.03. That's, I think, 3rd out of the strikers at the moment. XG non-penalty per 90 of 0.54. That puts him in 11th. But
that's a drop though, because he's normally at the top. He's normally got double that. He's normally got around 0.9
He's
or
offside
even
so
1 point.
bloody much.
Yeah.
He's one of the quickest players in the Premier League. I just can't understand why he's constantly offside and getting into
fights.
Bookings. He's got 4 bookings. He's got 4 bookings. He's one booking away from a ban. Yeah.
But he's got 3 bookings in the last 6 and 2 assists.
And he got booked tonight.
Did he? Yeah. It's I don't know. I mean, he's a player. We must talk about Darwin almost as much as any other player, and yet he's barely been in our teams more than 3 or 4 game weeks in either season so far. Last season, I don't think I had him at all. This season, I had him for these 3 or 4 weeks and will be getting shot, and I doubt I'll get him back. And yet we talk about him almost every other week on this show, don't we? Because we know the promise is there. But, I mean, people who didn't move to him have gone, well, of course, he's rubbish finisher. But then you hear the contrary, don't you? Every now and then you hear, oh no, he's gonna have his period, he's gonna have his time. And I just thought with the Watkins flag and the injury and the 50-50 chance he'd been playing at Bournemouth, it was worth the go.
I know,
and it's proved disastrous, right?
I mean, he's like widely tipped to be this like chaos player that can come in and get you 20 points or that. His recent points are 1-2, 3-2, 1-5-2. He had the 10 against Forest, and then it was 4-5-0. 6 against West Ham. Well, it's not really chaos, is it? It's like...
we're back to Weghorst 1-2-1-2, aren't we?
We are. It's Weghorst levels of returns for a player playing in arguably the best attacking side in the league. Yeah. Up front, it's rubbish. Absolutely rubbish. Oh, yeah. Awful.
Not a factor, I don't think, at the moment. The one that if you're going cheap...
Oh, is this the Mark Sutherland's punt?
I like Cunha. I like Matheus Cunha. I think 5 returns in the last 5. And so I thought, the data's improving, but also at West Ham, I thought he looked really impressive eye test wise. I think in recent weeks, I'm seeing a different player, a player who's a lot more confident and shooting a lot more. And that's backed up by the data here. He's now in the top 10 for shots per 90, which for a Wolves attacker is quite surprising. And we've seen, Hwang surprise us this season from Wolves. I never really saw him as a player to get double figures for goals, but he probably will end up on double figures for goals this season. I think if you're going 3 up top or you want a rotation striker, someone in there who's cheaper to rotate. At the moment, Jimenez is out. He's 5-3, but he's suspended, of course. Which, you could look to Adebayo at Luton maybe because, he's been effective. And as a third striker at 4.8, he's going to be a better option than Archer. But if you want someone who's going to be there and give you a chance of points, I like Cunha, actually. I like him quite, I like what I see. So
This is what
And
people
the
are playing in
data's
super chats for. Kuna from you, Calvert-Lewin from me in the forward
oh,
stable.
yeah, I prefer Kuna to Calvert-Lewin. I just don't trust Calvert-Lewin's
Look at that
fitness.
XGI,
I know.
0.82.
Yeah.
It's so
Yeah.
high. So high.
Yeah, but look at his conversion, 0-0.
Yeah.
So he's hit the target
He's
with
due, Mark.
61%. 61% of his shots have hit the target, but he's converted none of them to goals.
His accuracy isn't even that bad. His accuracy is 61.5%. And
Yeah,
no conversion. Yeah.
So he's hitting the target, but
Yeah.
none of them are going in. So in other words, they're not effective finishes. Whereas, Kuna's got 16.7, which is a pretty decent level of conversion. Haaland's on 18.8. Yeah, I mean, that really shows where Solanke's been excellent at the moment. 21.1 his conversion rate of late, which is good. 36% accuracy. Yeah, I prefer Kuna to Calvert-Lewin myself.
Yep. Cool. I think that's it. The only thing we haven't touched on is this great chart that we have from Mikkel Topfam, which is, well, this is kind of like a prediction model which is trying to work out when the double game weeks are gonna kind of sit. So we did think a few weeks ago that it might sit in 20. That's looking very unlikely. And this is for Man City and Brentford, by the way. Also, obviously, now have the Bournemouth and Luton ones to factor in. But according to this chart, the most likely times for a double game week for Brentford and Man City are either in 21, 23 or 25, with 25 being the most likely.
Yeah, there's not much in it at the moment, is there?
Nope.
And this is based on Ben Crellin's feedback that comes in. So Mikkel does a great job of kind of collating that and coming up with these numbers. And he's also started to make a prediction for where the Bournemouth-Luton game could fall. And he thinks, from 23 onwards, there's a likelihood between 23, 24, 25, a small chance. Ben said tonight that there's no reason why it couldn't drop that Bournemouth-Luton game before game week 30. Because traditionally we see double game weeks from 34, don't we? 33 and 34, we normally see them. But Ben did say tonight that the Man City-Brentford game is more of a priority to schedule earlier than 30. So Ben obviously thinks we're going to get it at some point between 21 and 25. And so that's what Mick Vell has replicated here. So it does mean that how long can you plan to be without Haaland? You've got to have that in mind, right?
Well, that's it. I mean, when I'm looking at, I'm not going to have him until probably 21, because I think because if I can get through Sheffield United, it's then Newcastle away. I don't think I need to rush in getting back for 21. That's obviously a tough game, but then 22, it's Burnley at home. Obviously need him for that, and then it's the high chance of the doubles, unless the double does get announced for 21, and then it's Newcastle away and Brentford, which obviously you're going to need him for the captaincy.
You'll want him in 2 games, won't you? I mean, it doesn't matter who they're up against. You'll want him in 2 games. I mean, for some players, you go, well, like you wouldn't get a Brentford player necessarily and think, well, I'm going to get something from the City game. You might do with Mbomo, but you wouldn't get, other than Flecken, you probably wouldn't go to another Brentford player. And if it does fall in 21, who have Brentford got in that week? Let's have a look. So they're right down the bottom. No, they've got Forest.
Yeah, Forest at home.
Which won't be an easy game.
The Nuno revolution will be in full swing by then.
Yeah. So maybe a Brentford defender would be a shot. I would certainly think Flecken would be on the menu because a goalkeeper in a double game week can always do you well, even when he's got a tough fixture. But so it's just something. We'll keep a track on this. We'll keep talking about it over the next few weeks, obviously, or next few shows, because we've got to keep an eye on where that's going to drop and where the Bournemouth-Luton's going to drop as well. But we're not. Ben's hinting we're not expecting an announcement on Bournemouth-Luton soon. So don't think, well, I've got to move to Solanke now with that in mind. But I guess if you've got him, you hold him anyway because he's a great asset to own. So.
Yeah. Thomas says Tony captain here. Ivan will be back by then, won't he?
Yeah, he will be. But will he be at Brentford? Probably
That's
not.
true. Arsenal and Spurs, I think. I mean,
Chelsea
if Tony goes to Spurs, then that rules Richarlison out as well, doesn't it?
Yeah, I guess that's a possibility.
Absolutely.
I mean, all the noises from Brentford suggest he's not going to stay.
Well, if they get 100 million for him, because that's some of the fees being touted, they're not going to turn down 100 million.
No, that's right in their, that's their policy, right? You buy a lower league, you develop them, you sell them on, and that's what they've done with Watkins, and they'll take that for Tony. Yeah.
Yeah. You wouldn't bet on him staying, would you?
No.
Little joke there, have you?
Oh no, I saw that. I just didn't want to acknowledge it.
It's fine. Is that an acceptable thing to make jokes about? Maybe it's not. Maybe
no, probably not. You probably cancelled us.
We're going to cancel. It's fine. It's going to make it up. No, it's fine. Not like you filming people in bloody garden centres. You're going to get arrested and flying your illegal drone.
It wasn't illegal. It's fine. I'm very careful where I fly it. It'll be outside your window.
Yeah, always watching. Let's take a look at some predictions then for Gameweek 18. Palace Brighton, big game. I saw someone say earlier, you know, what are the Premier League thinking having this stupid game on a Thursday night? It's the biggest derby in the Premier League.
It will be Dolo.
No.
Do you not think?
No, it's the most exciting game of the year.
But Roy will just put the kibosh on it and just strangle it. Do you not think?
Probably, but you've got to hope that we've got enough to get through it.
Yeah, but Brighton are really inconsistent at the moment in what you get. I don't know. It depends. I hope we get a good game there and Brighton turn up and they're allowed to play a bit. But knowing Roy, he'll just shut you down and it'll be a bit of a...
Well, you've gone for 4 goals in this game, yeah.
I know, because I really hope it's not that. Because it's like, I think like whoever that was you referred to, I don't want it to be that. So as it's live and it's the only game that night and I want to be in the Christmas spirit, I've gone for a 2-2 because I want to see that. That's what I want to see, but I don't think it will be.
Yeah.
I've been optimistic with that, haven't I? You've gone 2-1. You've been optimistic in a different way.
Yeah, of course we're going to beat Palace. We always beat. We don't always beat Palace. It's not true at all, but I'm hoping we do. Interesting though, it was the us failing to score against Arsenal. It was the 4th longest scoring record in the Premier League for a team.
Wow.
And we're probably going to set the record for the most conceded goals in the row as well, because we are literally conceding in every match. But that is amazing, isn't it, for Brighton to be 4th in the all-time list of that. So just a credit to Potter and De Zerbi, really, because they got us. Yeah. So actually, I don't know if that includes Potter's games. Probably doesn't.
Probably just De Zerbi.
Let's just give it to De Zerbi. Yeah. Anyway,
Yeah.
Villa Sheffield United. We both gone for a 3-0. Villa, nice and comfortable.
Yeah, I wanted to bring it down to a 2 or even a 1 because I thought, well, why do I make it difficult there? But Villa are so strong. I mean, they're disrupted by injuries. I mean, it's a shame because Tielemans in the 10 and Bailey out wide was working really well for them. And now they've had to go back to, they're not playing Tielemans in the 10, which will mean that perhaps Diaby does come in and perhaps Bailey's not going to be fit. But even reverting back to that, it did them pretty well, in weeks gone by, hadn't it? I do think Diaby's gone off the ball a bit, but you got to think Watkins is a strong captain candidate. I can only see a Villa win, and you've got to back goals.
You've got to be a brave manager to go A, without Watkins, and B, without Watkins captain, right, in this one? I think he's...
Yeah, I would say so. If we know that Son's starting out on the left, although I think Spurs will score some goals in that game, I think that'll be an entertaining... I've gone a lot of goals, as you noticed. Here.
You have, haven't you? You've gone goal crazy in these matches. West Ham, Manchester United, I've gone for a 1-1. You've gone for a 2-1 West Ham. Ooh.
Yeah, I just fancied them. I think that Kudos is full of confidence at the moment. Bowen looks sharp still. Paqueta looked incredible the other day, didn't he? He's funny, isn't he, Paqueta? His stuff either comes off and he looks an absolute world beater, or he looks a complete liability because he tries to pull off flicks and tricks in his own half and gets caught out. He's a bit like Gibbs White, but much more effective in terms of end product, I would say. I just think West Ham will win this. I think, again, this will be an entertaining game, I think. For some reason, I always think that game is entertaining. There's always drama in it, West Ham, Man United. Yeah, I like it. 2-1, West Ham.
Interesting with Manchester United. I mean, we never gave them a chance, did we, against Liverpool?
No, we were proved wrong there.
I went for 5-0.
5-0?
No, completely wrong. I was not expecting a 0-0 in that. Of all the results, that would have been so far down the list. And actually, they had a couple of opportunities to nick it, Man U, with Garnacho.
Yeah, Garnacho and Haaland got chances, didn't they?
Yeah. Fulham Burnley?
Yeah, home win. I mean, really strong at the Cottage. I think we showed last week, didn't we, about their home form being so strong. I've been back in Burnley all season. I've been kind of behind company and almost cheering them on, which is not easy as a Forest fan. And obviously, Burnley are one of the teams that could potentially get us relegated. I think it's going wrong now. I sense the same kind of atmosphere that was starting to develop for Cooper at Forest. A little bit of unease, a little bit of doubt creeping in. I think that's beginning to creep in now at Turf Moor. The last defeat, you could hear it at the whistle. You could hear the boos, the discontent. and I think Fulham are going to be ruthless. I think they're going to win this game, and I think Company could be in trouble, which is a real shame because I like his ethos. I like the way he wants to play football. But the fact is, it's just not being effective. It's not getting them results. And it's like, are they prepared to go down with Company, or are they going to roll the dice and try and stay up? And I do think they might do the latter. Let's not forget they used to be managed by Sean Dyche, so they know that a pragmatic style could mean they survive. Are they going to persevere with Company? I hope they do. I really hope they do, but I don't see it.
2 wins all season. I mean, 2 big wins against Luton and Sheffield United, who are, obviously relegation rivals. But you look at Cooper last season and the way he adapted. Like, obviously, you came up with quite an attacking style, and
we tried, didn't we?
You made all those transfers, and in the end, you got a system that kind of worked and kept you up. And now he's tried to go back to being a bit more attacking, I feel, and that hasn't really worked. And then it's all a bit disjointed. Whereas Company's trying to stick with this style, and it's just they're not even scoring. I know they got 5 against Sheffield United, but they're not like scoring loads of goals. They're conceding way too many. They're bottom in the attack data. They're bottom in the defence data, or near the bottom. Yeah, not really good enough. Not going to be buying any of their players anytime soon. Luton, Newcastle. I think it's a tricky one for Newcastle, given the injuries they've got and how Luton play at home. I've gone for a 3-1 though. I think they've got enough to do it. They need an early goal. That's what we're seeing with Luton. Is if you can get an early goal, you can wear them down. But the longer the game goes on, the harder it is.
Yeah, I mean, Joe Linton's a big miss as well, because he's the kind of player you want in this game, because he's tireless, combative midfielder, isn't he? They're going to need that. They've got to keep 11 men on the pitch, Newcastle. I do think they've got a few players in there that have a few disciplinary issues, and Luton will test them on that front, because Luton will be physical. So they've got to keep their heads, Newcastle. If they do, I think they'll grind out a professional win. Defensively, I love Newcastle. I think Howe just has them so well disciplined. They fight for each other, and no matter how many changes they've made in that back four, they've still been decent defensively. Obviously, far more effective at home than they have been away. But again, what I saw at Chelsea the other night was impressive defensively. They made one mistake and conceded. Arguably, Chelsea did as well. But I think they'll win this game, but it won't be pretty. No.
Yeah. Forest, Bournemouth. I spent ages on this one. In the end, I went 0-0. You've gone for a draw as well, 1-1.
Yeah, a question for you then. If you were a Luton, a Burnley fan or a Sheffield United fan, and you saw that Cooper had left and Nuno had come in, would you think you've got less chance or more chance of catching Forest?
That's a very good question. I think Cooper could have turned it around. I know the results haven't been great, but I don't know. I don't know what Nuno brings to things that Cooper doesn't have. And I think a big part of it is going to be what happens with the fans. Because, I mean, you obviously know this more than me, but I mean, what happens at the City grounds? Because like last game, all the fans are still chanting Cooper's name, even though they're losing. Are they going to get... I'm surprised to hear you getting behind Nuno as much as you have done, because what's going to happen at the weekend? Are they going to be backing him? Or is there still going to be a tension? No, they're going to back him. They're going to back him.
Yeah, I really hope so. I mean, we're very close to Cooper, but I think most of us, I would say 95% of us, look at it and go, yeah, it probably was right to make a change. And I do think I like Nuno as a character. He's not someone who's going to be outward going. He's not going to be perhaps as on press as he's going to give very little, I imagine, and post match he's going to give very little. But I watched a documentary on Wolves some years back when he was there, and I remember watching it and thinking, God, I'm really envious of what they've got under Nuno, the setup they've got, and how he's running that team, and the way the players talk about that regime. And this was when he was there and having success. So I always felt to myself, I like him as a manager. I like what I see. He's not... Lopetegui I wouldn't have liked. I don't... when he was at Wolves, his character, the way he acted and the post-matches really aggravated me. So I really was against Lopetegui coming in. But Nuno I like. And I do think if I was a Luton, Burnley or Sheffield United fan, I'd be looking at that, similar to when Dyche came in for Everton, and me going... that's probably made it a bit harder to catch them. I think we will get more points under Nuno than we probably would have done under Cooper. The difference is Nuno would be backed at the window, whereas Cooper wasn't going to be. So if Cooper stayed, I couldn't see Marinakis giving him the same kind of war chest that no doubt he will give Nuno. It really depends on what players we bring in that period, right?
I think it is hard to judge him on the Spurs reign because he
15
played
games, wasn't it?
The football they played was dire. Like it was crap, and the results weren't there. So I guess it's what happens with that play style.
You say that. Let's not forget he won the first 5 games. They were top of the league, and then he lost the next 5. So he only played 10 Premier League games. He won 5, lost 5. He had a 50% win.
They weren't a
record
good
there.
team to watch, though.
No, they weren't. That was the problem. He wasn't the right fit in terms of style for Spurs. But in a side for a team struggling, he's the right fit, I think, for us. And I like him as a character. The Mendes link makes me nervous a bit because we're probably going to be mining all the, Mendes player list, I imagine, and whatever that means. We'll make mistakes, I expect, in the transfer market, but we've been doing that anyway. I think we'll be okay now. Whereas under Cooper, I wanted him to stay, but it was worrying me, the fact that we were so poor away from home and the fact that we didn't have a solution without Awani.
Yeah.
And that was you have to look to Cooper for that. So I've gone a 1-1, a tentative start, but I think we'll be hard to beat now. So I don't.
It's quite a desperate move as well when the keepers keep changing every. You have Turner, you take him out, then Turner comes back in, and he makes mistakes. It's like, well, like you never knew who was going to start the next game. So yeah, we'll see how it goes. To answer your question, it's a difficult one. I think I would personally be happier to see Cooper leave, because I think Cooper, with the way the fans rally around him, that could go either way. On the outside, you say they're going to rally on Nuno, and hopefully they do, but we'll see how it goes.
It all depends on results, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Spurs Everton, both gone for a Spurs win here, 2-1, 3-2. No clean sheet again for Spurs.
No, I just don't see it. They find a way to concede, don't they? So an Everton form side, you said about their attack and their defensive data is very strong. Calvert-Lewin, I remember him getting goals at Spurs before. I think in the first game of the season, a few seasons back, he scored, didn't he, with that header? I think Everton will cause them problems. So another good game, another slew of goals, 3-2 for me.
Absolutely. Liverpool-Arsenal, big game on the Saturday. Great games on the Saturday. Oh, there is a Garden Centre game I put in. I've completely forgotten about it. I completely lost my head.
Have we missed it?
And forgotten it. Yeah, you said you were going to think it was Wolves versus Chelsea. I think it's got to be West Ham Man U, isn't it? It's the Garden Centre game. Yeah,
possibly. But I like this fixture. I think that have plenty of passion in it, and I think they'll be all right. But yeah, it's quite. I'd have gone Wolves Chelsea myself.
Okay. We could add.
Then because it's a 1 o'clock kickoff on a Sunday. That's prime time Garden Centre, isn't it? 1 o'clock on a Sunday.
12:30 on a Saturday, and it's not even a deadline to worry about. You could get in early.
Maybe. Yeah, a bit more traffic though, I'd have thought. But.
You would know. I really enjoyed seeing the truckles on the video.
Yeah, just for you. Yeah. There you go. Just to prove that that's what we buy at the Garden Centre. I did get a black bomber as well. So
very nice.
Yeah.
And then the final game is Wolves Chelsea. Difficult one to call again. I mean, Chelsea were so poor in that first half against Sheffield United as well. I read a stat, and I can't remember exactly what it was, but I'm going to say it anyway, because I like doing these on the stream. I'm sure I read somewhere that it was the first game in like 15 years that Chelsea didn't have a shot in the first half against Sheffield United. Against Sheffield United, the worst team in the league at the moment. And then obviously turned it around in the second half. I think Pochettino tweaked a few things. Palmer moved sort of position and had much more of an influence in the game. So fair play.
Palmer's the key, isn't he? He's so good, and I think they will surely take some confidence over the win and the Carabao Cup. But I think Wolves are a difficult side to play against, and I've tentatively gone at 1-1 here. So
wouldn't surprise me, to be fair.
Don't think it'll be a spectacle.
We've gone quite different on quite a few of these results, actually.
Yeah, let's see what happens. Yeah.
We will.
That was high, wasn't it?
Oh, that was really high. It's like the voice changer again coming out.
Sorry about that. I just woke up a few dogs there.
If you are interested in getting involved in the Prediction League, you need to be a Godfather tier member, so you can check out the YouTube description for that. We've got Pratik at the top. Pratik's having a great season in terms of FPL and in terms of this prediction league. So fair play to him. I'm in 10th with a 54% correct prediction.
Very good, Az.
Thank you. And you are, where are you? You are in
51. Yeah.
51%. Yeah, not much in it between us. I can't even see you. Oh, you're there. 14. Oh, not much in it between us. But yeah, fair play. And again, as always, thank you to Lee for doing this for us each week. And it must take a lot of effort for him to do this. So yeah, we really appreciate it. He is second. I wonder if he'd still be doing it if he was a bit lower down in the table. But yeah.
I'm just seeing who's got the highest correct score rate. Tom got 54.9, so 55%.
Yeah.
If you're getting 55%, that's decent.
That is good.
Very decent.
We were in and around the 60s for a bit, weren't we? But
yeah, we were. The season started in obviously a very predictable way, and it's gone back to the norm now, isn't it? Of around 49, 50% is what you can expect. And the fact there's a lot of people involved in this league means that, you know, the best amongst us. No, it's Jeff Turner here. He's got 58.9%. So that's a very high results percentage. That's what you can expect, right? So yeah, it's an interesting experiment, isn't it? To know that, you know, this is a game we play, FPL, obviously based a lot on our predictive talents and how much you can predict the outcomes. And roughly, you're going to get somewhere between 48 and 60% prediction rate on results, right? So that shows you how much variance is involved, doesn't it?
Yep,
so.
Absolutely. M. Darrowell, hit the likes, 1,600 watching. Remain really consistent this stream. Yeah, just the last time we'll say it before the end of the show. If you are watching and enjoying, do give us a like. Do give us
subscribe if you're new around here. That's what they say, isn't it?
That's nice. That's very Slippers. Very Slippers-esque.
It is.
Yeah. Good. Let's take a look at some captains' data. Like I said, I think this is an easy one this week. I think Watkins is by far the standout. 11 goals this season. That puts him in the most of the season of the players that we're looking at. Son just behind him on 10. 4 goals in his last 6. That's level with Solanke. Amazing if you're considering him. We haven't really talked about Saka at all this episode. I know he's obviously probably not going to captain against Liverpool away, but he's been a bit disappointing, isn't he, with the returns he's been getting? We haven't even talked about his assists. Let's not even get into that.
It wasn't an assist.
Should have been.
It wasn't an assist. No. But he did have 4 shots in the last game, which was the most he's had in a single game this season.
And it should have been an assist for Martinelli, who smashed it over the bar for no reason.
So and Arsenal's attacking data, as we saw earlier, has taken an upturn in recent weeks. So and also you're not going to sell with AFCON coming up and Son and Salah on your way out. If anything, if you haven't got Saka, he's got to be on your list to bring in, right? So. Yeah, this is not a week you captain him though, and perhaps there won't be a week this season where we do captain him until we start seeing double-figure returns from him. Perhaps our confidence in him as a captain won't be there. But yeah, I don't think it's that. I don't think Watkins is the runaway leader in this captain conversation, because I think Son is a factor. But I guess the Everton defence, when you look at the data we showed earlier, they're the 3rd best defence over the season now.
Well, and the argument comes back to what you were saying earlier: was that Newcastle massive haul a blip if he's going to be playing off the left?
Yeah.
Maybe Richarlison should be on this list.
Yeah, maybe he should be. But I think I will go Watkins, because I expect Villa to win that game by 2 or 3 goals, and surely Watkins gets something out of that if that's the case. I don't think there'll be a big gap between the two, though. I think we're looking at 1 return from each. Myself.
Do you think there's anything in it in targeting the kind of the teams that have played midweek? So Everton obviously lost in the cup last night to Fulham. West Ham lost to Liverpool tonight.
Yeah, there might be a fatigue thing there. You're swaying me back towards Son then. You know, and obviously if they are going to get 1 return each, if that's a goal for Son, he gets more points. But I think it's, you know, you're looking at a goal for Watkins plus bonus, aren't you? Well, the striker's always more likely to get bonus, I think, even though he gets fewer points for the goal. I think it's very close. I mean, Watkins could bang a hat-trick, couldn't he? That's the thing. Maybe the ceiling's higher for Watkins, given the fixture. That's the factor, isn't it?
Yeah, they might be weakened without Kamara, though, like generally, because he's been such a key player for them.
Yeah, but I think they'll play a more attacking team. I think if Ramsey plays for Kamara, they've got more attacking impetus on the pitch. And, you know, they might, like you said earlier, they might even play Cash as well and not play Conte at right back. So
I mean, I'm being devil's advocate. I'm going with Watkins. There's absolutely no chance I'm being swayed.
The thing is, it'll be a low block from Sheffield United. Does that suit Villa's play? Probably doesn't, because they play a high line and squeezed up, and Forest played Villa and showed how you can, strangle them. You cover central areas, you let them have the width of the pitch, but you cover in the centre. So maybe it won't be as easy as we think, because Wilder's a canny manager and they'll be up for it. It's just the quality Villa got on the pitch.
Because a few questions we've had today have been about Alex Moreno.
Yeah,
I think
like him.
I like him. I think he's brilliant. I had him last season and absolutely loved it. But I think Dean comes back in for this one. Low block, set pieces, get those crosses in, try and deal with that.
Might do.
In that way, because they're going to need that quality to unlock that, that team.
I mean, this is why I think I say Bailey again, Bailey's just got that trick in the box, hasn't he, that Diaby doesn't have. He's got that little bit of flair. Diaby's got the pace, of course, but that's not going to be of use against a low block, the pace, because they're going to be sitting deep. So you want Bailey in this game. So I don't think there's any doubt he starts if he's fit for me, and I expect him to get something out of the game if they win it.
Yep.
But yeah, I'm probably with you on the Watkins captaincy at the moment.
Captain's Matrix, I think this is an interesting one as well. Like I said, I think this one is between Watkins and Son. I mean, Trippier versus Luton, that did look a great potential one, but I think Luton at home is tough. Salah versus Arsenal, Liverpool at home just look good generally, and then I think Solanke versus Forest is a bit much just because we don't know what Forest are going to set up with. But I was looking at the fixtures coming. So Salah versus Burnley looks obvious at Gameweek 19. Even if Haaland is back, I think that's still where we're going to go. Gameweek 20, Haaland versus Sheffield United, but you have got the Watkins v Burnley, option. If you like me, you're not going to have Haaland for that game, even if he is fit, most likely. You also got Alvarez as well if you want to go somewhere else. Salah plays Newcastle at home. I mean, Son has Bournemouth at home as well. None of those are bad options. It's not like Haaland is the only one to consider that week.
No, but
you'd go for him if you had him. Don't get me wrong, but it's
if
not.
If you don't have Haaland that week, you're going to be worried. But there might be something in the fact that if he's not fully fit, he gets rested. But don't see that myself.
But game week 21, I couldn't even pick a primary candidate because I mean Haaland's got Newcastle away. It's Haaland. He's probably going to be the default, but that's about as tough as it gets. Saka v Palace at home, Watkins v Everton, Bowen versus Sheffield United. We've got Mbumo in there, but just ignore that. I think I just forgot to delete that one. But who'd you go out of those for? It's a tough one, right?
Well, Salah's at Bournemouth, right?
Well, Salah won't be there, will he? When does he go to?
Oh no, of course, no. That's the one he'll miss. Yeah, of course. So you got Liverpool alternatives, haven't you? Yeah, I guess that does make it difficult when you're losing the second primary captain candidate in Salah, which we presume we will for 21. We will surely. Yeah, so he's not in 22 either. You've got Salah listed there, so he's not an option there either. So that makes Haaland a definite gimme there, doesn't it? Yeah, I don't know. Where would I go there? Haaland at Newcastle's tough, isn't it? No doubt about it. That is going to be an atrocious battle there for City. It's not going to be easy. If Bowen is my replacement for Son and Salah, then that's one of the reasons why he stands out for me. I like the fixtures over the run that Son and Salah are away for West Ham. West Ham have Sheffield United, Bournemouth and Manchester United, and then Arsenal at home. And Arsenal at home would be tough, but you've got to think that maybe Son or Salah will be back then. Sheffield United, Bournemouth and Manchester United is not bad for that run of three. I think I looked at the ticker and had a look, and West Ham were near the top of the ticker if you narrow it to those three fixtures. Bournemouth, as we said, aren't the team that we know, and actually their defensive data has been strong, but you still think at home to Bournemouth, West Ham will score. So I would probably go Bowen at the moment if I had him in 21. Where would you go?
I think Bowen as well.
All right.
Yeah, Bowen or Saka, I think, in that week. Because, I mean, you got to think, if Saka is going to become that kind of 200-point premium asset, we're paying $9 million for him, we should be considering him for the captaincy in a home match against Crystal Palace, with penalties as well. I mean, I remember last season he got a big haul against Palace, didn't he? I can't remember if he was at home or away. I remember I went against him. I went for Tony at Leicester. It's weird how you remember these things, but I remember Saka got a big haul in that match. And we are seeing Arsenal climb the XG ladder. We are seeing, their team performing. We just need to see a bit more from Saka, I think. And like you said, he had 4 shots though. Could have got a couple of assists in that game. Yeah, so maybe him, but
it's really weird. I'm looking at the ticker for that week, and you're right. There just isn't that many alternatives because the weaker sides play other weaker sides. So you're not going to have a Burnley attacker at home to Luton, for example, are you? Or a Brentford attacker at home to Forest because Mbumo won't be a factor. So, whereas in that week, normally you might go, well, let's go for a differential, and you target those teams, maybe Forest or Luton or Sheffield United. Sheffield United you can target, but Bowen away. But then Bowen's been very effective on the road, hasn't he? Most of his goals have come away from home, which is another factor here. If West Ham are going to win that game, and even with Wilder there, you'd think West Ham will probably score a couple of goals and get a result. Bowen in an away game, you back for points, don't you? Because that's what we've seen all season. So, yeah, I think you're right.
Yep. Right, let's take a look at our teams. And I can actually use your help this week because I am not totally sure what I'm going to do. I've already made a move. So I've got Martinez in goal. He's come in for Sanchez. At the moment, I'm playing Gahey, Simicast and Livramento. There's some worries around Simicast and Livramento, both starting.
Simicast started tonight, didn't he? But then so did Gomez. So that wasn't very helpful, was it?
No, I think he probably starts, but there's always a bit of a gamble. I think he's been playing quite well, and Gomez isn't, I don't think, that much of a better defender than Simicast at the moment. So I think Simicast probably plays. Salason, Saka, Gordon, there's doubts around him, obviously, and Palmer, Watkins captain, and Darwin. So I've got Kabore, Archer, and Gabriel on the bench. I mean, my first thought with this was to take the hit and get Porro in. And get Porro in for Gahey, because I don't really want to play him. I don't really want to play Gahey going forward. But that doesn't really help with Livramento, Gordon, and Darwin, who are both players that I have some concerns about.
Darwin played the 90 and Gakpo didn't, which would indicate perhaps that Darwin won't start against Arsenal. Simicast went off on 69 minutes and Gomez completed the 90, so Simicast should be all right. That would indicate to me Simicast starts that game.
It's more Livramento, Gordon, and Darwin I'm worried about. I think
Livramento, I do think Byrne will start. It's whether or not Byrne starts for Botman, isn't it?
The thing is, I'm going to move Darwin to Alvarez in a couple of weeks. So I don't really want to move Darwin to another forward for like 2 weeks because I know I'm going to move him on. I could just bring Kabore in. Like, I'm not that opposed to playing Kabore at home in a home game. I want Porro. This is the thing, and how do I get Porro? It has to really be Gahey that leaves.
Yeah, but I don't think Gordon will play.
No, but then Kabore comes in, and again, I'm not totally.
Yeah, okay. So Gahey to Porro is the way to go, then I guess.
Probably is, but then I've got Darwin, who's probably not going to start.
You're not in great shape.
Kabore coming in for Gordon, and Livramento, who also.
I'm not enjoying this at all, guys. This is you've got a few issues here.
What would you do for a hit? Anything's for a hit at this stage.
Darwin off the bench could do something. You never know. Livramento could start. Whereas I think of the three, Gordon's the one least likely to start.
Gordon to Richarlison, that's another option.
Yeah, I would get rid of Gordon. Because the other thing is, we've seen that Newcastle have got a good next two, but then after that, it's really quite tough. We're not going to get an update on Gordon. Maybe there'll be a leak. How bad is this injury? How indicated that it was quite nasty? So I don't think it's a yellow flag. I think he's more of a doubt than that suggests. That seems to be the feeling in the community. Seems to be he's unlikely to play, doesn't it? Maybe I'm wrong, but that's what I've picked up. It's really tough decision.
Tough, right? I know, and it's so annoying about the Sanchez thing because having to make a goalkeeper move has just really cocked this all up. Because
you did have to do that because Turner isn't going to play under.
I know, because I could have done Gordon and Gahey to Porro and Richarlison, for example, and then sort of looked a bit more better. So,
but the thing is with Gahey, he's definitely going to start, and they've got, what have they got coming up? They've got Chelsea and Brentford.
It's all right.
Arsenal, Sheffield United. It's all right. I mean, at least he's definitely going to start for you, which Livramento and Gordon maybe aren't. I don't know. For me, you always get rid of the injured player. For me, rather than a player who's definitely going to be active in the week. So I would say Gordon out for Richarlison, probably.
Or maybe Gordon to Bowen.
If you can do that.
Yeah, I've got 7 million in the bank, haven't I?
Oh, have you?
Bloody fortune.
Yeah.
I don't know. Yeah. There's a few things I could do. I don't really want to lose Gordon. I like Gordon.
But I know, but he's no good to you if he's injured, is it? I mean, it's what we hear overnight. I wouldn't do it till near deadline, obviously. I wouldn't do it tonight. So let's see what we pick up in the community on the severity of the injury. It didn't look too bad, that challenge, but the fact he played on and then went off with it later would suggest that it's something quite... And like we say, we only got really what Hal said, which was it was nasty, but
It was down the back of his like foot,
Yeah.
wasn't it? Like Achilles kind of area as well.
Someone's saying Kabore to Trent there.
Can't do that.
Dr.
Got
David,
three
1963. Dr.
Liverpool.
David's in again.
Got
Good
three
morning,
Liverpool, haven't I?
Evening, Doctor. Oh, yeah, you have.
Because
Yeah.
it's Simicast to Trent next week. That's 100% happening for Burnley. But yeah, obviously can't do that this week. Don't be worst player, Darwin. Yeah. But
James Harding saying Gordon more likely to start than not, in my opinion. Yeah, okay, maybe.
We just don't know, do we?
This is so annoying, isn't it? Not having the pressers before that. Really not what you need if you're a Gordon owner at all. Very aggravating.
Bloody Brighton being on a Thursday. It's all
it's your fault.
It's all our fault.
Yeah.
Anyway, yeah, it's fine. So this is your team?
Yeah, Dubravka, Trippier, Lascelles. It's a triple Newcastle at Luton. So if Luton score, that's it. It's all over.
Triple Newcastle. Wow, yeah.
Well, I think I play Lascelles over Simicast and Gabriel, don't you think?
Kabore goal. Come on.
I mean, Simicast at home to Arsenal or Gabriel away at Liverpool. I could play one of those two. And managers will have to play one of those two. But if you've got three Newcastle, I think you're going to play them all. I think they all start. I think Lascelles will start with Shah out. I'm playing 8 Norrie because I think he starts. And I think he starts in a wing-back role because they played 4 at the back at the weekend. It didn't do well. And I think against Chelsea they'll play. So he's always got a chance of getting something in that game. And I don't know. I mean, that game could be a 0-0. I mean, Chelsea are a strange side. Sometimes they don't look... They're not taking their chances for all their possession. So I fancy playing 8 Norrie over Simicast. That's quite close, though, I've got to say. What would you do there? 8 Norrie or Simicast?
Is 8 Norrie definitely going to start?
Not sure. I would say so. I think he's... Their change of system didn't work at the weekend. I think if you're a Wolves fan, you're saying he starts, yeah. It's a risk, though. Simicast definitely starts against Arsenal, doesn't he?
Oh, that's such a tough one.
It is, isn't it? We've got a lot of these around.
I'd maybe be tempted to bench Lascelles. Would I?
No, you got to play Newcastle at Luton.
Triple defence just seems a lot of...
Yeah, but at Luton, they're the worst attack in the league, aren't they, after Sheffield United?
Yeah, but they are annoying at home. Teams have
but set
come
pieces... Of all the teams to back defending their set plays, it would be Newcastle, I'd say.
Yeah, I think
I'd be surprised if they concede at a set piece.
Yeah, but Simicast has got the corners and stuff, hasn't it? I don't know. I'd maybe play Simicast over Lascelles. I think I'd play 8 Norrie over Simicast. There's not much in it though.
Okay. Elsewhere, Saka, Salah, Bailey, Son, Palmer. I think that picks itself. Solanke, Watkins. I've got to play Bailey and Palmer over Darwin, haven't I? Do you not think? Particularly after tonight, where it looks as though Gakpo will start the Arsenal game.
I'm so jealous you get to bench Darwin.
Well, he might come on for me because Bailey might not turn up. So.
Yeah, that's true. Oh, God. Here we are with our Liverpool...
Silly, isn't it? Because this will be the game where Darwin does well, I think. That's that would be... I
called
saw a post
it
in the
weeks
week.
ago. Do you remember?
Yeah.
I said, everyone sells him ahead of Arsenal when he scores.
Dr. Davis saying get rid of 8 Norrie for the defender. I've already taken my transfer. My transfer was really early, was Haaland to Watkins. So that would be for a hit, Dr. David. And I totally agree, that would be a great move for a free, but you're not going to take a hit to get a Villa defender in, I don't think. I don't think that's worth it. A defensive move for a hit. So I do think that I would do normally, yeah. But I had to do Haaland to Watkins early to get the price rises.
Yeah.
Because I didn't take the hit last week because I thought Solanke was going to get me the points. Which
it's so
he did,
frustrating with hits, isn't it? And that's how I feel about Porro. It's like if I don't get him, I'm constantly going to be like one transfer behind that. But yeah, and it's the same with this. Sometimes you just wish you'd taken the hit just to have that sorted, so you haven't got to think about it. Yeah,
maybe Gahey to Porro is the way to go. You don't want to watch a Palace defender against Brighton either, so maybe that's the way to go for you.
And I think, like I said, if Kabore comes in for Gordon, I don't think it's the end of the world. And then I'll get some news about Gordon, and then I can make a decision. I think that's probably what I'll do, to be fair. Yeah.
So I think this team is what I'll go with. Even if Bailey is out, then Darwin comes in. And if Bailey's benched, obviously he must have more points off the bench than any other player this season. So even in 20 minutes, as he showed at Brentford, he can get me something. So I've got to start him, I think. I guess if I was going to start anyone, bench anyone, it would be Palmer, but not after the last game and not with penalties. I don't think there'd be a lot of goals in that game, but I'm still going to have to bench Darwin, aren't I? Which I know he could hurt me, and I know. And there was like I said, there was a tweet in the week saying those managers who sell Darwin ahead of the Arsenal game don't say you're unlucky if he goes and hauls. It's like, well, you're a little bit unlucky.
a bit unlucky
because you have held him for 3 or 4 games prior to that with good fixtures and got nothing. So you're either unlucky if he scores against Arsenal, or you're unlucky in the games prior to that. One way or another, the variance has gone against you because he had good fixtures. And he didn't return. So, if luck plays any part in this game...
Is it variance or is he just crap?
Yeah, or is he crap? Yeah. Well, the point of this tweet was he isn't crap. He's a good player.
Yeah.
And what you've got to do, you just got to be patient. But Lord, oh Lord, of all the players who tries to have patience, surely Darwin's got to be right up there, isn't he?
I said it weeks ago. There has to come a point with Klopp when he's just like, I just can't cope with this guy anymore. Like, there's too many, because they're winning and they're getting points. But if they stop winning, if they started drawing more games or they started dropping down the table, it becomes a huge problem for him, Darwin. I think. Should I start Semenyo over Darwin? Semenyo at Forest, he'll cause us problems. I think he'll cause us problems. I would start Darwin, though, over Semenyo. Because, for me, that's a lesser player than Bailey or Palmer. And I do think we'll be tight in that game. Nuno's first game. I don't think Bournemouth will score a lot of goals. I would start Solanke over Darwin, but I'm not sure I'd start Semenyo over him. What do you think to that one, Az? Tough one, isn't it? Maybe we're too down on Darwin. I don't know. Like I said, I think Darwin's probably got the bigger upside if he starts. The fact we're even having this debate shows how far he's fallen. I think I'd probably start Darwin. Yeah. I think.
Roynish disagrees. He would go Semenyo.
Yeah. I wouldn't blame you for doing it. It's really tough. Oh,
right.
Cool. Right. We are near the end. Let's just take a quick look at the Black Box leagues. So we've got Harder Guess still in first, although a lower score compared to some of the others in the league. So
great team name, by the way, the Pez Dispensers.
The Pez is very good. Yeah. But his 55 has allowed Tommy to come into second, only 2 points behind him. But massive 75 points this week. Light Scare United. We've got Mo Selector, also a good name, from Joe Cassidy. 1117. We've got Nicholas Ridgenson, Kevin Prendergast, Anders Axner, Patrick Corbett, Linda Duggan, Vakas Salim and Josh Hinchcliffe as well, rounding up the top 10, all with 1,100 points, which, let's just compare that to me. I haven't even broken 1,000 yet, so you are way ahead of me. You have broken 1,000, you're on 1,034, top of the Apprentice League. Ryan is my best chance of my apprentice topping you, but he's about 50 points behind. Liesel in third. I'm trying to catch 17 points behind her. Caught up about 20 points on her this week, which is good. And then Natalie is in fifth too. Looking at the Godfather League, we've got Richard Smith in top. Some big scores here. Richard Smith in top. Nick Baker with 69. Avi Fruchter with 75. Douglas Bonds with 61. Conor Gray with 73. Richard James Neal with 60. Chris Tanger with 77. Pratik, who I mentioned earlier, doing so well in the Prediction League, 81 points for him. And check this out, we've got Mr. Mark Southerns in ninth, dropping a place.
Oscar.
Look at this in the top 10. Bloody focal.
Love to see it.
He's 13 points behind you, so...
I know, it's getting tight, isn't it? Yeah, I'm clinging on to my top 10 status and Oscar's threatening to take it off me. Yeah, no, it's all good. Love it. Have we missed any Super Chats? People saying we might have missed a few. Attaboy saying, please don't forget the Super Chats, Black Box.
Please
Did we miss any?
Forget the Super Chats.
Have a look, see if Attaboy's got one that we missed. If we did, put in chat if we missed any.
The chat goes so quickly, it's hard to grab it from the thing we use.
It does, yeah.
I can't see any.
Okay. I think we covered quite a few in this. If we did miss any, we'll catch them on Twitter. So, yeah. There's one. Satchid's just put one in there now.
Amazing. Thanks, Sachin. Great stream, guys. As pleased, some of your hit was good this week. P.S. Merry Christmas and Happy New Year. What was your hit, Sachin?
I don't know. Didn't miss that.
I can't even remember. Let me know. Before we go, we've got to know what Sachin's hit was. We can't leave until then. I mean, this is a good opportunity, really, just to wish everyone a happy Christmas.
Yeah, got to be, because this will be our last show before Christmas. We will be doing something probably before New Year. Either me and Andy or me and Az will do something. I had a look and said, I looked and went, we could always do a show on Sunday. And I was like, oh, no, that's
Christmas
on Monday. It's Christmas Day. Well, Christmas Day was the only area where we could do something because it's the only day without a game, obviously. So, yeah, we'll try and get something in before the new year, either with Az or with Andy. And I'll try and do a walkabout as well. So we'll try and keep the content coming. And if not, if you're a member, I'll try and nip onto Discord and do something on there as well. But it's so busy over Christmas. So, yeah, I mean, look after yourselves, stay safe and enjoy all the football that's on because it's such a treat, isn't it? Not for our other halves, but certainly for us, or in my case, my other half anyway. But certainly
I've got lucky. I've got quite lucky there.
Yeah, you have. Yeah.
Yep.
But, yeah, I think it's going to be... I don't know. We'll see how turbulent it's going to be for FPL. The lack of team news just makes it feel very uncertain, doesn't it? Because of the matches coming thick and fast and the pressers being difficult to squeeze in. The bookings, there's bound to be more suspensions on the way because the players picking up bookings as they are. So, yeah, who knows how we're going to come out of this period, if we're going to come out with green arrows or whether we're just going to be plummeting. We'll see. And the events of the last game week obviously show that the unexpected can happen. And obviously that was a very sad affair and we don't want to see the like of that again. But who knows what else is around the corner in terms of our FBL fortunes. It's a time of turbulence for sure.
Lovely, outro, Mark. I have to say, really nice. I have found the super chats that we've missed.
Oh, go on. I was deliberately filling time there.
You've done really well. Yep.
Skillfully done, wasn't it?
You've done very well. Still don't know about Sachin's hit. I still want to know about that. But we had one from Attaboy, which is a quick one. If you can only have one, who would you pick out of Watkins or Solanke?
That's quite tough, isn't it? I guess with Sheffield United at home, you'd want Watkins for that.
I think you go Watkins definitely for the captaincy option this week and potentially the captaincy option in 2021 as well.
They've got excellent fixtures coming up from 21 onwards as we looked at. They've got a very good run. So I think Watkins is more or less a lock-in now, isn't he? Solanke is very desirable though as a third striker in the 3-4-3. Is a viable way to go now. I didn't think we'd ever have three strikers this season, but I think Solanke has emerged as now a very, very credible third striker. But Watkins over Solanke for now, yeah.
Yep. And then the final super chat we have is from Callum M. One for you, I think. Keep Gibbs White for one more week or a -4 for Cole Palmer.
It's very interesting because under Nuno, Gibbs White played deeper. He played in an 8 or even a 6 role, if you remember. When he broke into the Wolves side, Gibbs White, he played him almost in a defensive midfielder role. I think that there's a chance that Gibbs White will move back in the Forest team and won't play in the 10. At the moment, that seemed unlikely because we haven't got a striker and he's probably our best source of creativity up the pitch. But I don't know. I wonder whether Nuno will play him deeper. Whether he'll play him in the midfield 3 and play Elanga and Wood. I've got a feeling he might. So what was the option? Sell him for what?
For Palmer. Cole Palmer.
Oh, Get him in for Palmer.
You've got to have Cole. You've got to have Cole.
Got to do it.
Yeah, got to do it. I completely agree. One more super chat. I mean, we'll keep going if the super chats keep coming in.
Yeah, I mean, we can be here all night, to be honest.
This is from Zomé Boban. Thank you very much. 44 points in hits. And at 90k overall.
Okay. So 44 points over the season.
I assume so.
Is that weird? No, I don't think that's luck. I think that's skillful transfers. Clearly, obviously, there's luck involved in all that. But
you would say that when he's paid us 199.
The skill there is the bravery to take the hits in the first place, isn't it?
Absolutely.
Because that is, we see it across managers. There are some who really are reluctant to sacrifice points because it is the huge risk involved. You've got to back yourself. You've got to back yourself to make the right decision. And in some weeks, that looks very difficult. But in weeks like this, for example, if you didn't have Watkins, you take a hit to get Watkins in because it's the kind of week where you think, I've got to have Watkins to cover the captaincy and that fixture is too strong and Villa's home form is too strong. So if you're taking hits at the right times, you shouldn't have a policy of, I'm religiously against taking any hits at all. So obviously, I don't know the consequences and the context around Zovomir's hits, but it's not all luck there. Some of that is the skill to know when to take the hits.
Do you know how many hits you've taken this season?
I have only about 2, I think.
You've taken one.
Very low so
one
far.
hit. One hit all season.
Yeah, there you go.
I've taken 16 points worth of hits.
I will end the season on probably around 24, something like that.
I mean, it's amazing that you've been chasing team value as aggressively as you have been, and you've only taken one hit.
Yeah, because I've been taking risks in other ways.
Could
making
argue
early
that you're
transfers.
lucky that you've been getting away with it.
I said in my video previously, the one before this week, I said the luck I've had is not so much with points. The luck I've had is with transfers and injuries, in that I've often transferred a player out and they've immediately got injured or they've lost a load of form. Like Alvarez, good example. I got points from Alvarez, transferred him out, and then he dropped off a cliff output-wise. Now, that could have gone against me, but it didn't. Now, that was luck. That's pure luck, really. I don't think I've been super lucky when it comes to points. I haven't been like getting goals off backsides and goalkeeper save penalties and stuff like that. But I've had a lot of luck with my transfers, yeah.
Yep. We have had a super chat actually from the Heroic Doses that we missed as well, which just says, Mark, more garden centre footage in your videos.
Yeah, I'll try and get more in, more truckles.
Until you get arrested for filming like unsuspecting people in garden centres.
You have to blur people out if they don't like to be in the video. It's very difficult to get shots in public and not offend people, yeah, because people look at you and go, what are you doing? And like I said in one video, you never want to explain what I'm doing, really.
The defence is worse, arguably, than just being like,
I know.
Yeah, I'm a creep.
Yeah, exactly. That's exactly what I said in one of my videos. Like, you never want to have to explain what I'm doing in reality, and it's almost easier to explain that. Yes, call the police. I'll stay here. I'll go quietly.
That's from Nigel the Crab as well. Minus 44 across the season. Hold my bear. I assume he means bear as well, and definitely not beer. I'll take it more in a week. Yeah, Nigel is hits mad.
Oh, he's crazy. Yeah. He does minus 20s, doesn't he, in a week sometimes?
Pretty sure he's ahead of me.
Well,
by quite some margin.
I'm saying nothing.
Right, we're going to call it there. Thank you everyone for watching. Have a great Christmas, and we will see you. Well, I'll either see you before the new year or maybe just after. Depends how my parents' internet copes, but we'll get something sorted.
You did one from your parents last year, I think.
Did I?
I seem to remember you did.
If you were all right to host, I should be all right to do one.
Yeah, we'll sort something out. Yeah. We'll confirm on that. But yeah, it's a long show, but it was lovely to catch up before Christmas, and Merry Christmas to you, and to all our viewers and listeners, and of course our members who support us this year. So hopefully we'll catch you before the new year with some show of some sort. We'll put something together. But yeah, it's a good night from me.
And a good night from me. I can finally take this bloody hat off. Bye everyone.